So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you listen to this. This is Matthew Bailey alongside my critiquing partner in crime, Ricardo Medina.
Hello.
And this is a special Halloween-themed episode, if you will, of Beers, Beats, and Bailey.
Yes.
All right, so we say Halloween because we are going to talk about different stuff which in its own way is related to that holiday that we love so much, apart from Christmas, of course, Halloween.
Yeah, and basically just getting into a bunch of things that scares people.
Yes.
Scary things.
Yes, and we love that. That's what we love about Halloween. Being scared and seeing other people being scared. That's fun.
Thematically, we're going to just one of the things that scare us, or at least is building a lot of anxiety in today's world. We'll be talking about that with a couple other shows. So it's ancillary, really related.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't get around to seeing anything in theaters during the weekend, and you didn't as well too. But I know there were a few shows that you managed to catch up on.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, actually, in terms of TV shows, I'm right now just catching up on season 6 of Walking Dead. Well, not really catching up, but really recapping.
Yeah.
So I have like about 4 more episodes again before, you know, that big season 7 premiere that everybody's waiting for. You want to know what happens with Negan and all that stuff. But anyway.
Which is pretty scary.
Yes, very scary. I'm like just biting my nails wondering what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
But anyway, in terms of TV shows, what did you see? And what will you be reviewing?
All right, so couple things to get into what is the modern thing that scares adults is our relationship with technology.
Yes.
Yes, and shifting political climate of the world, and I'm going to copy and address that in one of the latest documentaries by Adam Curtis, HyperNormalisation. Awesome.
Interesting title.
Fantastic documentary. And then we're going to be talking about season 3 of Black Mirror.
All right, a series that I honestly didn't know about until the last month or so when I was hearing a lot of buzz about season 3.
Yeah.
Now realize it's a horror anthology series.
Yeah.
Weekly, but not like American Horror Story where every season is one story.
Yeah, it's anthology style. It's episodic, and it's basically in the same vein as Twilight Zone.
Yeah, a show that I love a lot.
Right.
Yeah,
Twilight Zone Outer Limits, but it's done for modern audiences, modern anxieties. It does that quite well. Then we're gonna talk about season 3 of Halt and Catch Fire.
All right, a show that you've been hyping up a lot.
Very, very big fan of that show.
Yeah.
Totally underrated in my opinion. And
actually, this is going to be the first time of you reviewing a season. I think you did it before. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I barely touched upon it at the time, and I was just kind of hyping the show, saying how damn good it is. So we're talking about. Then, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, then we're going to talk about our, we talked about this over the past few weeks, our top 5 Halloween movies, but it's something a little different. Yeah. So, like I mentioned in my last podcast, there are a lot of popular horror movies out there. There are going to be people that are going to watch the Night of the Living Deads, the Shinings, the Halloweens, the Poltergeists, but we want to do something a little different. There's lots of popular lists out there, but we want to do more the unconventional horror movies, the stuff that people may not have ever heard about. Maybe they saw a picture of it online, they were like, what the hell is this? But, we have our top 5s, and they're going to be shows that we highly recommend, but they, in a way, are technically horror films, but just not what you've ever seen before.
And almost forgot. I want to do just a quick review. It'll be not that long, surprisingly, of Swiss Army Man, which I saw.
Right.
Yeah. Last week I mentioned that I wanted to do the review for it.
But I haven't seen it yet, dude.
Alright, see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can mention it. Well, you watch it over again then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can talk about your second viewing, and then maybe when I see it for myself, I would just go for my first view. I'll say what my thoughts are, just like with Neon Demon. Right. I mean, but I know it's something that I will watch over just to really pick up on it.
It might make a top 10 of the year, but I'll tell you why I didn't like it as much. I guess one of those overhyped things, because everybody hyped it up too much.
Yeah.
So you put it in your head, and then when you watch it, it ain't that good. It's good, very good, but for unique ways. And I can see why it got a lot of buzz and why people like it.
All right. Well, we could start things off with the TV shows.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any, so I would just kind of interject every once in a while. I will just sip on some water and I just, just have you just talk about these shows that I really need to take time off to see.
Right. So basically,
well, sorry. Not TV shows as yet. There's the documentary that you mentioned first, the HyperNormalisation.
Right. I'll talk about. Well, I want to talk about Black Mirror first.
All right, fine. Do what you want to do, man.
No, I'll link it to HyperNormalisation.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Black Mirror is the third season of anthology style series by by Charlie Brooker. Charlie Brooker, in my opinion, is one of the funniest humorists that we have on the planet right now. He does a lot of humor based, making fun of media, our relationship with media, our relationship with social networks and technology. And he has his probably most popular for a lot of stuff like Newswipe, Gameswipe. He just does, anthology series of the best of the year stuff, just covering the year. In terms of humor, it's really, really funny, little great, hour-long documentaries covering the year, very funny. He's very, 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 very biting, sardonic, sarcastic, style of humor.
All right, one question. Has he put out any shorts online?
I have no idea. I don't think he's that kind of guy, because what he does is just, he's a writer mostly. He has articles online, really, really funny host.
All right, so he does not like act or anything. He just does.
He just for my understanding, for the most part, he's just commentary, and then he writes, and then of course he writes for Black Mirror itself. The thing with him is that he has this, again, with the biting sardonism, he just has this fast flowing style of humor. It's really, really hilarious, and I think he's most popular for that video on. This was like about 5 or 6 years ago. It first came out where he did this video on how a normal news bit will go on. So, and he'll talk about every process of the news bit, and it's just done in this really sarcastic way. And we start with the so and so, and this is an establishing shot, and then we'll show this and close-up shots, and then here's me walking to the camera slowly but surely with a confident so and so with a smile, and then here's Johnny Public so and so making, and he would just go through the whole process, and it's really, really, really sarcastic, and
sounds like my kind of shit, man.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Guys, look him up. Really, really funny. He has a great series on how TV ruin your life, and he just gets into it's just the history of media.
Okay.
And he covers how media manipulates, politics, how it manipulates social systems, how it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. He just, just gets into the reality of how these things work, and why they work, how propaganda works, that kind of stuff. And so, to lead into the show, to me, the natural evolution of a guy and his career is start writing science fiction, and to carry the material to a higher level. And that's what he did with
Black Mirror.
Black Mirror, yeah. It's, the first 2 seasons was basically all of that stuff. It was just these hour-long episodes, 3 episodes per season. And it was just covering all the things about, reality television. And then carrying that to a logical extreme in a sci-fi setting. You'll cover most of it is very media based. Almost all of it is either media or social networking based in some way, shape, or form. Somebody taking some technology and manipulating the government, taking technology, and then it has all these dark endings like Twilight Zone.
Right.
So they have a great episode. This guy who creates a character that's making fun of politicians in the same, and he kind of becomes popular in the same style as, say, Jon Stewart would be, in that way, and making fun of comedians using humor to insult, to talk to power, to speak up to power. And then it's accosted and used by said power in its own way. And then they carry it to this disturbing logical conclusion of the same character manipulating, fighter jets and all this kind of stuff. It's like super disturbing.
Yeah.
And this season is very good. It does that. It carries all these disturbing points to its logical conclusion. And it does all these great sci-fi settings. Almost all of it is based on either some kind of social networking, some kind of communication, and how social network and media interrupts how we communicate and talk to each other in society. That's what it does. It does that very well. And that's almost all of the bits of that, but everyone works. And this season is about 6 episodes strong. And the first episode starts with Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah, they get big stars for this. They get big stars. They have again, Mackenzie Davis is in a season this wrongs. Who's the boy who do Ex Machina? Not Oscar Isaac, the other guy.
Oh, I forgot his name, but I know you're referring to.
Yeah, he was General Hux in Star Wars. British guy.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I keep taking Oscar Isaac, but
no, it's not Oscar Isaac. He was also in Star Wars.
Yeah.
The villain, one of the villains. He was in an episode of Black Mirror where they did a thing with social networking, reconstructing an AI based off of a guy because he died, and the wife ended up taking and making an AI based on the social network and stuff. It's really like they get into a lot of that now.
Yeah.
And society, a lot of to do with surveillance culture, surveillance technology, all of that stuff. And yeah, so Bryce Dallas Howard, first episode, don't really, well, it's not spoiled because it's sold out at the beginning, but the ending is hilarious and really well done. It's basically about the disturbing future of what Instagram is and all social networks and what other people think of it. So they literally quantify and monetize that system and culture. So basically, if you have stars and you have a rating, that's how wealthy you are, essentially.
Oh.
That's how it's ranked.
Right.
And so it's she trying to rise through basically society to buy an apartment, but she can't afford the apartment because she's not a 4.5. They basically higher. They never say how high it is. They seem to max out at around 10 or so. But most people she knows is like a 4, 4.1, 4.1. Everything you do is part of the culture. Mm-hmm. So you're 5-star everybody you see. Immediately you'll see the score. You have a score. And then you'll 5-star the person. And how much points a person get, and depends on who points who, it'll count to the score. Similar to social networking. If somebody retweet, like if one of my friends just retweet me, no big deal. But if like a big celebrity retweets one of my tweets, I'll become very popular on Twitter, for example. That's how it works. It does that quite well. And she, what happens to her, the events that play out, that what happens to her is really well done. They could have carried the idea to a better logical conclusion in some ways. But by the way, that first episode, which I thought was really funny and well done, it's the weakest episode.
Wow, so everything else
gets better. Yeah. Episode 2 was really amazing, involving virtual reality. It's a nice little mind trip thing, really well done. Episode 3, great, really, really touching episode. 4 is with Mackenzie Davis. Surprisingly, most light-hearted of the episodes, but still really well done. 6 and 7, I'll say 5 is the best one. I don't want to spoil that at all. Okay, you just have to jump into that completely blind. Yeah. It's fucking hard. And then 6 was not as good as 5, and it kind of slowed down the tempo a little bit. But just this I really like this season. I won't say it's as good as 1 and 2. I think so. I think this season, I just totally recommend this. Strong recommend by myself. And yeah, I totally recommend Black Mirror. It's very funny, very prescient, really well thought out and well written, and well acted, well made, well shot, of course. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's a really damn good series. And I'm really excited for season 4.
Cool.
Can't wait. The thing with it, I'll say, is I don't know how much I could talk about stuff like that without people kind of where the fatigue might set in. It's like, okay, we get it. Technology sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, we get it. Blah blah blah. But you could do so much with it in terms of the material. And it's all
that's
about,
what he manages to do.
Exactly. It's all about the character pieces. And so, like, I remember a lot of people was complaining about the first episode, how it was a character piece I wasn't that interested. But to me, it was great because of Bryce Dallas Howard and her character. It wasn't about the technology. Yeah, the technology was the thing. But, as I say, sci-fi is just a setting. It's about what happens to her and who she is as a person. And that's not the lesson. So, I suppose you could take that world and carry it to another one. So, that's the thing. It's how far you want to carry that. But what it does technological anxiety very well. That's the one thing that scares us. What the future holds and who could abuse it in what way, or the dark side of that.
Yeah,
he does that quite well, and yeah, it for me is a solid series in that sense. Well, that's it. I have nothing much to say about that because I don't want to get into details for every episode. I just mentioned the first episode is really well done. You go in, binge it, please.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. I've been hearing a lot of great things about it. But the one thing though that because I don't know, maybe is the way I kind of glimpse it online. Yeah. Is that it usually kind of associates itself with being horrific or being a horror.
That's what I say. It does technological anxiety very well. Is that the horror is more existential? Is that, oh shit, you find yourself in this thing that's really scary. That's not, horror in a classical sense.
Right.
It's like, okay, what if the whole of society, like I'll imagine being homeless is a horrible thing. In today's world, where's the worst thing you could be in today's world, and that is truly scary. Being homeless, in my opinion.
Okay, but this show kind of ramps everything
right.
up.
So that's what I'll say. It does a future version of that. Like if one of the big things is that what he talks about, and again to do with technology, and we could get into talk about transhumanism and all that stuff, is it does hedonic treadmill quite well. If anybody knows what the hedonic treadmill is, it's society just getting faster and faster and moving along, and you trying to keep up, and is your own likes and what you love, you can't be happy forever, and it doesn't give you a chance to rest. think about like what social networking does.
Yes.
Social networking is pretty shitty in that way. It's about the clicks and it's about the likes and all of that.
Every
bullshit.
hour is some new thing that you have to care about.
Right, and we might be part of the problem, maybe. But,
maybe.
Yeah. But we at just you and I, we relatively grounded. I just love movies for the art of it. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people just want to. Have a lot of people who just like a movie because other people like a movie. And they don't like films. They're just in films, and you see that shit all the time. I want to call for certain bars on the avenue.
Yeah.
When they have a film festival and 90% of the people don't care about movies.
Nope.
Somewhere. No, but you have that whole social momentum problem. And then you start to get into how his world is like, wait, how come they build a world like this? Now, again, most of Charlie Brooker's stories are, much like with the Twilight Zone, is thematic. It's not meant to be, is this world building and it's supposed to be realistic. A lot of people fight that down, in sci-fi especially. And I don't really care about that, especially when you do a good character piece and a good thematic piece. It just works.
Yeah. It's kind of like a parable or fable.
Yeah, exactly. You don't waste your time. How come they do this and how come they maintain that? And it shouldn't have people who do this. Don't waste your time with that shit. Just get
it's about the message,
right.
The overall message.
Once you keep it workably consistent, you're fine.
Yeah.
You don't waste your time trying to learn every detail about the world. It don't matter because she doesn't know every detail about the world.
Yeah, and it's one episode. It's not
exactly. It's
full season.
It's just an hour exactly. So you don't need the world. And so what in terms of the scare factor, it does that. This is you could find yourself on the cutting. You find yourself on the cutting board. You find your head on the chopping block for something that you don't really have any control over. Take for example, another example is fashion. Fashion could go out of style at any time and that's it. Celebrity culture.
Yeah.
He does that quite well. He does this relationship with modern technology, all the pathologies of modernism and celebrity culture all rolled into one. Fame, the Andy Warhol prediction of the future, 15 minutes of fame. All these things that from the 20th century that now really come into bear.
Yeah.
In terms of who plant the seeds for that. And he does that very, very well.
Yeah,
and
divine culture alone
exactly.
is
what he does quite well, and because it relates to his style of humor and what he critiques as a media critic, it feeds into that perfectly. In my opinion, as I said, it's the logical conclusion of his career. Right? He's an excellent writer, in my opinion. He carries the material quite well. The screenplays are really, really like the teleplays is really well done, and how it's framed, how the shots are.
Right.
It's really, really well done in terms of storytelling.
Well, I have a feeling I will definitely love.
You will. I do recommend, and it's genuinely scary in that sense. It's not, you have a lot of stuff that's scary in the sense of, well, it's a vampire. Well, who gives a shit? It's a vampire. Vampires don't not real anyway. It's an axe murderer or serial killer.
But what I know what I mean is the subtle things.
Exactly.
That's why
it does the whole
scares.
It really gets you into the sense of, hey, this could kind of happen, but you're not really. It's one of those things that because it's on the edge of human thought right now, and it's really on the limits of what we're trying to explore. Yeah, it's uncharted territory in that sense. Our relationship with the future of technology and anxiety, and what future generation is going to treat us.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's scary in terms of age because there's an existential panic aspect to it as well now that it does quite well, and it carries that technology stuff. As I said, I mentioned technology 10,000 times in this review, but yeah, that's the whole thing. It does that quite well.
Right.
It is very it really, really gets there, especially when you think about this stuff and character's logical conclusion. But I totally recommend this. It's a really, really smart show. It's really well done. I thoroughly enjoyed the show. Not perfect, but not meant to be perfect. I don't get a sense that it's supposed to be this perfectly well thought out work. I found a lot of people complaining about that. Mm-hmm. Especially the Bryce Dallas Howard episode. This doesn't make any sense. What? No, don't worry about, stop worrying about it in that way.
Yeah, it's not meant to be real.
Right, yeah.
It's fiction, dude.
Right. But, the problem is that, geeks like, continuity and world building. I know I am one. So, right.
Yeah.
So, just to link from Charlie Brooker to, that's the end of the review of that. I want to get into HyperNormalisation now.
Right, that documentary.
So, we'll do a nice little conurbation style flow into HyperNormalisation. And the link between HyperNormalisation and Black Mirror is, the theme of technology again.
All right.
1. 2, Adam Curtis is related in some way to Charlie Brooker. Charlie Brooker and Adam Curtis are kind of friends. They know each other.
Oh, and cool.
One of Adam Curtis's bits was in one of Charlie Brooker's shows. Right? He was talking about the relationship between theater and politics. And he talked about a famous Russian theater artist who manipulated Russian politics, a fellow called Vladislav Syakov. If it wasn't for him, he got into a really disturbing trend in Russian politics. At least this is according to the narrative of Adam Curtis, about what he call hypernormalization.
Right. And what does that term mean?
Right. So there is a quick synopsis of Adam Curtis. Adam Curtis is a very unusual documentary. He rise to prominence, especially in the mid 2000s or so. Kind of ride in the way of the conspiracy theory edge of things, you know.
Right. That's like post 9/11 kind of stuff.
Yeah, post 9/11 stuff.
Right.
So he's not an outright conspiracy theorist. I won't say that. But what he does quite well, he does, you know, political and geopolitical counter narrative quite well. So he's all about, hey, do you think the history of the world is like this? Well, here's the real story, man. But he never says anything that seems outright false. So it's more about a great reinterpretation of history, especially in the 20th century. He does 20th century politics is quite well, especially with the relationship with the West and the Middle East. Does that quite well. And this is what this politician did in 1970, and this is the ramifications of it 20 years later. And he'll build a great narrative quite well in terms of that. Okay. He has some fantastic documentaries, in my opinion. I love his style of documentarianism. I love what he does with the material. He's quite funny. It's very strange and unusual. And the latest documentary is the culmination of, again, technology. Does that quite well. In his lovely British accent, he covers...
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah,
he's British. Of course he's British.
Of course he is.
Of course he is.
Yeah, what he does quite well. And again, to get into the truly scary aspect of, if you want to scare adults, talk about geopolitical trends. That's what he does. He gets into the idea of hypernormalization, which basically what he kind of covers. This is why I understand the material. He gets into the idea of, a new thing happens, and we understand that thing quite more deep than you should in terms of data.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about big data and new technology, and then who's going to use the technology in a certain way, especially when it comes to the internet and how the internet shaped the world. And he called that hypernormalization. And then he talked about, the nature of this cloudy nature of big data, who's going to take over the technology for the future. So he gets into that kind of borderline totalitarian aspect of, governments, especially the US government. They're watching you all the time, maybe. But it's not just watching you. They get you to behave a certain way, to think. And it's all this little manipulation stuff that's making you paranoid about the world, maybe. Right. And it does a lot. And it's a bit helter-skelter, but that's all his documentaries. He has some really, really great documentaries about, one of my favorites is The Trap. That's probably my favorite of his, where he gets into George Bush, Tony Blair, and game theory and the relationship with the Iraq War, all of that stuff.
Right.
And then what he covers in this documentary, he talks about the relationship between the West and Muammar Gaddafi and how the Western governments manipulate their populations. Again, it's kind of conspiracy theory stuff. A little bit, but not too much. And then what he does, he says, they will need a bad guy. So they create a bad guy through Muammar Gaddafi in this way. But the relationship between Muammar Gaddafi and Syria, and he gets into all of these details about that. And what he does quite well, he talks about how you manipulate things, which is you create a narrative for people to latch on to, and then you show the false, and then you get people to fight over the false narrative. You see a perfect example of that was UFOs. And he shows evidence that governments created the idea of UFOs just to hide technology for the Soviet war, for the war with the Soviet Union, just to hide technology, just airplanes, experimental tech. But what you do is that the law and narrative of UFOs is a good enough distraction for the US populace. Because if people waste time saying, the government hiding alien spacecraft, you look like an idiot. Clearly they hiding something more grounded and more parsimonious.
Right.
But it's still them figuring they create stories within stories within stories with layers.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of it.
Well, that's just to stop you there for a bit. That actually reminds me, this is not me drifting off into dreamland or anything like that, because you're talking some really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Reminds me of X-Files, It
right,
has a lot of that. And then
right.
there was this one particular episode that I saw where it's like a kind of tongue-in-cheek sort of episode, really done for humor.
Right.
But it's done in such a way where it's everyone kind of playing into this joke that hey, there's these aliens, but now you have these guys in black, literally the Men in Black. This is way before Men in Black actually came out, and they're trying to hunt these aliens down, and then you realize it's some deeper conspiracy.
Right.
It's a very interesting episode.
But he doesn't. No,
it felt like that.
He keeps everything in terms of how media manipulates us in terms of society,
right.
And then he gets into the truth of things in not the way you think it is. So, like the X-File stuff is not the truth. That's a distraction. So it's a conspiracy. And he kind of gets into the statement of the only conspiracy that exists is to protect incompetence. And the only actual conspiracies that do exist, there's a conspiracy. As in, there's a conspiracy to create...
an actual conspiracy then.
There's a conspiracy to create conspiracies. Just to create false narratives for you to be distracted. So all these people who are conspiracy theorists, they're even worse off than a person who know the quote-unquote...
Truth.
Well, I should say just what the news telling you is straightforward.
Right.
The straightforward narrative. They're even further from the truth, I should say. So you have the truth, you have what the media tell you, which is false, but at least closer to what they have. And then you have the conspiracy theorists who, because they don't believe, in some ways they're more gullible. And he does that quite well in most of his documentaries. And this one he talks about technology. He talks about the guy, one of the people who started the internet. One of the early people who started the internet. His son, I didn't know this because this is a real story about a famous journalist who got killed on Daniel Pearl, famous journalist, who got killed by the Taliban or one of the Al-Qaeda or something like that.
Or he was one of those guys who got shot.
No, he got his head cut off.
Oh, right.
It was really brutal. But it's like the first time he had a murder on the internet and people got to watch it.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. And he was the son of this. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know. That's like a weird connection, though.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was a journalist. And that was shocking. I remember when Daniel Pearl died and I was like, oh, that was a big deal now.
Yeah.
He's so well known, popular journalist. And yeah, I was like, oh, that's his son. Wow, that's such a level of irony that's uncanny, though. And they do a good job with that. And how he frames his argument is you have to decide, it has something called Hanlon's razor, where Hanlon's razor means do not attribute to malice what you could attribute to incompetence. Basically says, if you see something and some shenanigans go on, more assume it's the person being an idiot than the person being up to no good.
Okay.
That's the rule of thumb. It doesn't necessarily prove anything, but you should go with that rule of thumb. And he exploits that quite well, because the way they make it is, well, no, the person could really be doing what they not, doing it intentionally now, or not, maybe. And it's up to you now. And you have to kind of, the burden, I should say, you should put the burden on proof on the person doing the crime rather than just the person making a mistake or being an idiot. And he gets into that whole moral aspect of society. Again, if you want to scare adults, geopolitics.
Yeah.
So that's it.
One question. I imagine something like this clearly didn't get a theatrical release.
Nope.
So
on the internet.
Or it's on the internet?
Straight on the internet. You could stream it straight from his site for free, if I remember correctly. You can get a full proper link. It's fully on YouTube, and YouTube. The reason I didn't watch the YouTube version because there's a minute missing somewhere around the 7-minute mark or so. I remember. People are saying, there's a whole minute of the film missing.
Deleted scene.
No, it just jumped, and I was like, they said, no, go on this website. This is the better link, and this is fix all the problems.
All right. Is it a crucial minute?
Yeah, it's a good chunk, and it is tell you some important shit. That's the thing. He's the kind of guy that kind of wonders because it covers an interesting narrative, and it's all over the place. But he gets into the idea of how governments and powerful people manipulate media and how to vilify and then destroy somebody. Again, Muammar Gaddafi is a good example of that. He was a good guy for a little while for the nature of the Syrian conflict. And then they get into all these rich British people who manipulate the Middle East and say, we have to make sure the Middle East is this and that or the other. And it's that kind of anxiety you could build. Again, we talk about anxiety of geopolitics, another scary thing. If you want to scare adults, this is what you talk about. It's not ghosts and monsters and serial killers. What scares adults...
And terrorists.
Maybe. But what scares adults is geopolitical trends. That's what it does. And it gets into that whole, can I trust my government? Who do you trust? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it. I mean, he does a good job with using the nature of the internet and how media really gain out of hand in that sense. And, rebel against... He's not a rebel against the system man type, but he does that quite well. He clearly fits into that mold, in my opinion, quite well in terms of counter-narrative. That's it.
Okay.
Fun. I thoroughly enjoy his documentaries because it's so strange and unusual. You learn a lot, even though it might be kind of fluffy, empty information in a sense. In terms of just he was like, I learned this thing about history. But then when you think about it, that's kind of cool. And it's an interesting media manipulation. I think it's which documentary it was, but I think The Century of Self is one of my favorites as well, where he gets into the history of consumerism. And he talks about how corporations get you to buy shit you don't need.
Right.
And he does that quite well. He talks about, it was, the history of it is Sigmund Freud's nephew took his uncle's material and then used that to manipulate things, and then he got a bunch of debutantes to start smoking, and that's the first time women were smoking, and that's how he got women to start buying cigarettes and stuff like that. He does that. This point A, point B, and it's very well edited documentaries in my opinion. That's the strength of it. You could documentaries could be pure bullshit. If it's well edited and forms a narrative quite well, it's still a well-made documentary. You can't say it isn't. We need mockumentaries, right? Enough mockumentaries out there. They still count as documentaries.
Yeah, they do.
So he does that quite well. I wouldn't go as far as saying that he's pure bullshit, but he does this whole fluffy kind of making you feel smarter, and even though you didn't really get smarter kind of thing.
Yeah.
He does that quite well.
So I take it you could look at all of his documentaries on his site.
Yeah,
right?
you could find. No, actually, you could find most of them on YouTube if it's relatively easy. Again, the ones I do recommend. My two personal favorites is Century of Self and The Trap. I really enjoy those two. They're very, very smart, really well done documentaries. But this one is really well done as well. It's really quite good. That whole stuff about Vladimir Surkov is really brilliant, because he talks about theater and how to get, you not knowing what's going on. I forget what you call it. I forget what the actual term is. But it's something to do with, I think it's chaotic politics. So some term you use, but the idea is to keep you not focused on the real thing. Just constant distraction. And that is what Vladimir Putin did quite well in the last 10 years or so.
Right.
In terms of manipulating the Russian people. How to get them, keep them, non-focused.
Yeah.
And that kind of whole thing. And it's really clever. And you don't know if it's true. I mean, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it have any way to really prove this?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Not sure.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point of geopolitics, is that it's just history. It's more history versus scientific argument. And we could argue about that. And he just talks about all the classic historical people who manipulate history, like this fellow, Secretary of State for Nixon. I forget his name.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah, he's famous, but he's a big center of a lot of conspiracy theories, even though he was genuinely a shitty person. Because Khmer Rouge and I forget his name. Anyway.
All right. So, segueing from this show, HyperNormalisation to...
Right. So, Halt and Catch Fire. Season 3.
Is there a comparison between
I should have really started with HyperNormalisation first, then Black Mirror.
But that's what I told you.
Yeah. Right. So, the reason the link from Black Mirror to HyperNormalisation, the link from Black Mirror to Halt and Catch Fire is Mackenzie Davis. She is the star of one of the episodes, episode 4. And then she is one of the big stars, one of the main stars of Halt and Catch Fire, Cameron Howe.
Right. What is this show
about?
What is
the show about? It's about technology once again in the 1980s. So they go back. The good days. So they go back, and what it's about is basically about this Cameron Howe, Gordon Clark, and Joe McMillan. These three characters in relation to basically they on the edge of technological booms of the computer and the IT era in the 1980s and 90s, when that stuff really started to get the ground. And you could say so it's an alternate 1980s.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it's like based on real life.
It's based on real life. So it's like if it have a bunch of the technology that culture of Silicon Valley, even before Silicon Valley, because you had a way called Prairie Valley. Because the show starts there in Texas, and it does basically the side stuff. Just think of how many failed businesses you would have had. For every Steve Jobs, you would have 100 failed versions of him. Yeah. Every Bill Gates, you would have how much people. It's a very way called power law relationships, winner take all type business now, like any good capitalistic system. And you could say these are the characters that they're going through life, and they always see things ahead, and they always jump ahead of stuff. So they talk about stuff that happened in history. So like if you know IT history, and if you know anything in the history of the internet or anything like that, they will talk about stuff you see before. And then they'll talk about computer stuff, and then they have a project that get off the ground that was a popular product in this alternate 1980s history. And then it's about the characters and then their relationship, how smart people deal with the marketing people. So Joe McMillan's the marketing guy. He's kind of like the Steve Jobs type figure.
Right.
Then you have Gordon Clark, who's the engineer. Right. He knows hardware, how to manipulate hardware, and so on. And then you have Cameron Howe, who's the programmer. She's a software programmer, quite brilliant actually. She's a bit of a rebel. And what they do is, Joe McMillan, I forget the actors. Joe McMillan is played by Lee Pace. Anyone who knows who that is? He was the bad guy in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, he was him. I always forgot that guy's name.
Yeah, Ronan Accuser. In my opinion, he's a great actor.
Why are you singing?
Yeah. Anyone knows who Gordon Clark is? The actor. Scoot McNairy? He was the wheelchair guy in Batman v Superman. Yeah.
That guy, who I felt should have had a bigger role in that show.
Anyway. I hated. That's another reason why I fucking hate Batman v Superman, because they wasted a really good actor.
Wasted a lot of great actors.
Oh boy. Anyway,
But,
Scoot
yeah.
McNairy is a fantastic actor. So listen, if I didn't see Halt and Catch Fire before seeing that movie, I'd have been so pissed off. I'd be like, fuck this guy, I hate this dude. Whatever.
Yeah.
But is Gordon Clark as Scoot McNairy, very good. Kyrie Bish is Gordon Clark. She plays Gordon Clark's wife, and she was a technological supervisor in another company. Well, it's unclear what her job was then.
Mm-hmm.
She's very pivotal to the story as well. First season was all about them building a computer called the Giant, and the idea of it was basically this really, really powerful computer akin to the Apple II.
All right.
And the Apple II was really big back in the 80s, and it was like a product similar to that getting off the ground. Again, think of what technology was, how technology is. All the like, think of your phone. You have Samsung and Apple, but you have a bunch of other companies all over the place that just rise and fall.
Yeah.
You would have owned the phone for stuff like that. In terms of Samsung and Apple, right? Before Samsung and Apple. Samsung and Apple just happen to be the giants now. But they could have easily failed. I mean, technologies like biology in that sense, there's a big Darwinian aspect to it, where things could rise and fall and fail, or succeed and flourish in different ways, and it's all kind of factors, right? And it's because of consumer pressures, because of things like ergonomics, things like something might just overheat and it don't work, or it could be too expensive, whatever it is. And they get into that in the show. It's a really smart show in that way. It's a little pretentious in the sense that it just kind of spell out technological stuff for you. But then there's a guy like me who already know the material and familiar with that history. It does that quite well. Then they get into season 1. So season 1 is all about building this computer called the Giant, and it moves on from there. And then they had a whole thing about the character. It's all about the characters. Joe McMillan's a bit of a sociopath. They get into that. He's talk a lot of bullshit, a little bit of a bullshitter. And Karen Howe is a real egotistical programmer, but she's brilliant and she don't want to work with anybody. And then Gordon is like the grounded engineer guy who just have to make the shit work, and that kind of stuff. And they get just personality clashes. Great. It's all about the people.
Right.
And great characters. Toby Huss. He plays what was the character name? It's Toby Huss' character name. Old man, I forget his name. Crap, my brain slipping on him.
That's fine.
Yeah,
We have so much to talk about anyway. So
he's like the older guy who understands the business, but he know how to negotiate when it comes to negotiating deals, and they get into that whole, well, if you're gonna sell software, because we talk about that all the day, and it's a little fun right now because recently AT&T bought out Time Warner.
Yeah.
Right, so it's Time Warner ATT, right? TWATT, which you should call the company. Call it twat. Yeah, though. That's the thing. So the show gets into a lot of technology stuff. It's well shot. Brilliant.
I can imagine.
Really well shot, well made, good acting. Love Lee Pace in this. Love Cameron, Scoot McNairy in this. I love Mackenzie Davis in this. All three of them work well together. Good chemistry.
One question, though. Sorry to cut you there. The tone of it, is it like dark or is it kind
Yeah, it does.
mellow or something?
Yeah, it does emotional drama quite well. So it's all about just personal relationships, and just it's adults. It's how adults have to handle the world. You know, Gordon Clark and his wife is married. They have how you have to raise two kids with two daughters. They have just how a character like Joe McMillan thinks, and how it's all about succeed and success and living rich and these kind of things. And then it's all about vision to the future and being a visionary, and that kind of ego that'll get into that. And then it's about Cameron with all her great ideas. She's a brilliant thing, and they get into a lot of, well, you know, how women and men will interact because they do that aspect it with gender, because, you know, she's a female programmer back in the 1980s. That would have been a big deal, right? And they talk about that, and her relationship with her father, and then they do a lot of great character stuff.
Okay.
And so first season it was all about the computer. Second season was all about startups and startup culture.
Yeah.
And so Cameron starts a company called Mutiny. It's about internet, people talking on the internet and chatting on the internet. Again, back in the 1980s, this would have been a big deal, totally unprecedented. And it's about just people trying interesting stuff. And she got a bunch of her programmer friends together from, I forget, she went to USC, I think. And they have great characters bouncing off each other, funny, realistic. They deal with sexual orientation issues because they were Joe McMillan. That is a bit spoiler. Joe McMillan's character is bisexual. They do all of that in it. To have a character, one of the programmers gay, he get beat up in an episode, he almost get killed. They do a whole thing with that. But they don't focus on it too much. They don't waste their time on like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
just
it's
focus
not
on
that type of show.
Right. They just get into the technology thing. Season 3. Boy, this, in my opinion, is the best season. So this season, what they did was they left to go to Silicon Valley. This is in San Francisco. They go to San Francisco, which was a big hub for technology back then.
Right.
And Mutiny started to explore ideas, and then the IPO was going to get bought out. So it's a bunch of business stuff. And they Cameron had a bunch of ideas about it, but her friend Donna, well, it had a whole thing where she worked together with her friend, and she kind of betrayed and had a whole thing. And this season really damn good. Totally recommend it. It was really smart. Joe had his thing with so they do an arc with Joe he basically created something called Macmillan software, which is similar to McAfee software.
All right. Oh,
right.
Cool.
Right, and it's about, he basically built an antivirus.
Yeah.
But then what they do, he had a fellow called Ryan, who's this brilliant programmer and had a bunch of ideas, but he was used to be working for Cameron, and Cameron wasn't giving him the time of day in terms of giving him his ideas, so he got vexed and eventually went to work for Joe. And Joe was giving him a bunch of ideas, and Joe promised that he was going to sell the software for free, but he kind of reneged on the promise, and it had a whole thing. And then they do something, I don't want to spoil it, a really, really big reveal in episode 8. With this episode, and if I mention this, is a slight spoiler, but if you ever see a documentary called The Internet's Own Boy, that's basically what happened.
I've never heard of it, but
it's based on a famous, what you could argue is one of the founders of Reddit, a fellow called Aaron Schwartz, and it had a whole thing with information and he was going to make jail with certain information, and they did a whole thing with it. Don't want to spoil it because I don't want to say what it was. But it didn't catch me totally off guard, but it was still really well done on what they did.
Okay.
With the character building.
So one thing.
Do I recommend this show?
Does it help that you have to know all your internet history, all your technological history?
It's kind of the equivalent of like Marvel movies in that sense. Marvel movies, can you enjoy them without knowing who the hell Captain America was and all that history? The answer is yes. You can enjoy Civil War without, well, not Civil War, but say Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
You can enjoy that without you knowing who Iron Man was and being familiar with the comic.
Right.
Yes, you can enjoy the story with that. Why? Because it's all about the characters.
Yeah.
Characters bouncing off each other.
And not about the jargon.
No.
I know some of the jargon
but here's the thing.
going to fly.
Here's the only problem I say with the show. I'll admit that if you're not familiar with the jargon, if you're not technologically minded, you won't care why this is important. So they're talking about something that we take for granted today. But you have to understand, people make billions of dollars off of that shit. Now, we're saying that in 2016 with hindsight. But you have to think, hey, if this person was thinking about that then, that would be a big deal. A really big deal. Like what they're talking about in terms of really shaping the world. Because the season 3 more or less ends with the World Wide Web. Because the show ends in 1990. 1990 is the last episode of season 3.
Right.
It has been renewed for one more season. From what I understand, that is going to be the final season. But that final episode was done in such a way where it could have easily been a finale, a series finale. But it was a season finale. It got renewed, and I'm totally glad for that. And I think season 4 will be the final season.
All right.
Do I recommend this show? Hell yes. This show is so well done. Lee Pace, awesome. Easily one of the best characters I've seen on television in a long damn time. Well, very deep character, makes sense, really pathological. Everything the characters say and do, they feel. Cameron Howe, brilliant character, smart female character, don't take no shit from anybody. What happens to her in this season is really, really heartbreaking and well done. And I totally understand where she fucking coming from with what she does at the end. Just brilliant and really well done. Great. Gordon Clark, great. And these are the 3 central characters. They are the Harry, Hermione and Ron of the series.
But split seconds of the guy say 3 stooges there.
No. It's that whole, and it does that great dynamic of 2 guys and a girl, and they do that really, really well. But they don't really do the love triangle aspect of it.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they don't. Well,
they don't fall within that.
Well, they do. You'll see what they do with it. But it's still really, really smart. They do a lot of great 80s stuff, so you get to see the Nintendo when the Nintendo was invented. They bring that in.
And speaking of 80s, I can just imagine the music being, a lot of synth music.
Right. Yeah, they do that quite well. Here's what I'll say. What I recommend, you know what it's like? It's kind of like what Mad Men was for the 60s.
I was actually thinking about Mad Men.
It does that quite well. Yeah. And Mad Men has the same thing where so they show which typewriter came out when. So you follow it if you're into that, or when this particular dress came out in which year. So when and that would be like about 6 months later, somebody would be able to buy it on store shelves. Yeah. So you get to see all this accurate stuff. You get to see little things. So you have to look for little things at the time. That is really well done. I really, really like stuff like so. Because I'm a geek for shit like that. Just these little details, you know, in the history of past. So you'll watch like, oh shit, they like little things like what used to show when the network had to cut off. Remember the final
What you mean paid programming?
Right, in the end of the, before pre-programming, when the network had to cut off, and the final thing that America would show, so it would show like some sheet of time and say, and then you show an eagle and then show the flag.
Yeah, oh, you're right, the national anthem, yeah.
I was like, oh shit, yeah, they used to show that back in 1990s. Oh, that's a nice little touch. It's very conscientious in that way.
Yeah,
but they do stuff like, just like a television, it's like, hey, they buy a new television, and you see one of the characters, he'll buy like, oh, if anybody knows who Rob the Robot is. Rob the Robot
yes.
Right. That is from Nintendo. They have that. They show that and it's like, hey, I buy this for this girl, and it's a gift. It's like, oh yeah, that was new then, and you forget. It's nostalgia for the 80s, a little bit.
I love that shit.
Right.
To watch it.
It does stuff in a really smart way, and everything about it works. Really like it.
What network shows this again?
EMC.
EMC. Why am I not surprised?
Yeah.
Has some of the best shows on TV, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, the opening is badass. And if you get what the opening is, it does this. It's like a digital version of insemination.
Okay.
So you'll see this little beamer light, but it's like, wait, the beamer light, and then when you see where it hit.
Oh, I saw it for season 1. I saw that. I don't know if they ever expounded on it, expanded or whatever.
And another thing I like about the show, it uses glitch art in the opening.
Ooh.
So you'll start every opening, it'll start to tip, 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 and it'll say bong gong, and you'll see Gordon Clark. You'll start with Joe McMillan's face, and it'll show his name. Go for his name already. What's the actor's name?
That's fine.
Yeah. And then Lee Pace, and you'll see Lee Pace in the title, and the whole place glitched out, and you see his face in that, and you see the beamer light go in, and then it hit like a square, but the square looked like a processor, and you'll see it split into 2 and then to 4, and it's like, oh, it's like an egg then.
Yeah.
So it's the idea.
Clever,
yeah. So the idea is birth, and the idea of birthing of ideas, but related to technology, because the whole thing is about them being creative and them coming up with a new thing. But they just happen to be on the cusp of this thing, and as well, they always explain why they were shut out of history, why they're not as more popular now. We never heard of these guys, these kind of unsung heroes of technology.
Yeah.
I totally recommend the show. Love it.
That's what I'm gonna check out. Maybe if I get a chance to check it out this year, hopefully. But now that I know that there's a final season coming up next year, I'm gonna.
It's really damn geeky, I'll admit, but it's well done, really smart. It's a really underappreciated show because more people should be talking about this. Another thing, music. Every episode just have a track, some theme song, some really great track, some great music.
Like what? Some top 10 hits? I can imagine.
It's be like
because the 80s now.
Some great, but it's modern music. So they'll do some modern track, some great modern track, not too popular. But they'll do like we had it.
So modern as in what? 2010s modern?
No. Like this year. Wherever the year, where the show came out, the first time, 2012, it first aired. So
alright. No, I was thinking like a top 10 80s song.
No. They have some songs on the 80s, but they'll do like some modern music. So it's like, oh shit, what song is that though? And it's like,
that's what to end the
no,
episode?
just during the show.
Okay.
During the show going on, it's like they'll just have a nice editing sequence. So they had an episode where Joe McMillan was waking up just to type on computers, and he just preparing his morning, and he was playing like a real badass song. Was like, wait.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's playing, I think, Saint Elsewhere, one of those like modern bands.
Right.
A bunch of modern millennial bands that is one of those hipster kind of bands. But it's just fantastic music in my opinion.
All right. Well, that's definitely a show that I need to check out, man. You know?
Yeah, I strongly recommend the show. Smart, brilliant, and really well done.
All right. Okay. So before we get to our horror lists, you still want to mention the Swiss Army Man second viewing?
Yes. Boy.
Right. So how did it work out the second time around?
Didn't like it anyway. Yeah, didn't like it anyway as much as the first time. I could see why people will put it on the top 10 list, and it might barely make my top 10. It might get like a number 9 maybe.
I think it's because of how different it is.
Yeah, real strange.
Quote unquote original.
Yeah, it's real strange. But when they do it, it's existential panic. It's that. But it does it quite well. It's not as smart as say BoJack Horseman or something like that, but they do a good job with just the main character. This is not Daniel Radcliffe, the other guy. Paul Dano.
Paul Dano. Yeah. I was gonna say Dino, but
and they explain why he doing what he doing. The relationship he have with his father, and then basically just him constantly talking about death, love, life, stuff like that. But just done in this ridiculously strange way of him manipulating this dead body.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're not sure if he was hallucinating or not. It's unclear.
Right.
Because like because the dead body is real. Everyone else sees it. Well, when you see the ending of the film.
You know what this kind of reminds me of? I don't know why it just kind of just hit me there like about a second ago. Castaway.
Nah.
No, I mean, like how they just took something as simple as
okay.
lone guy on a deserted island, and then they just expand.
Right, I get where you're coming from, but it's different from that because it's when they reveal what's going on with the ending, it's like, oh, okay.
Don't spoil it, please.
Right, but it does. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from the Castaway thing a little bit.
Yeah. And then you remember with the whole thing with Wilson, like that didn't need to be there, but that added so much depth into it.
Right.
You know?
So they get into that a little bit, and what they do with it, it's you kind of see it coming again. Yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from. But it does really millennial kind of again existential panic, and what happens to him. You're not sure if it's a mental health issue. You're not sure if it's just him kind of just going off the deep end ever so. You know, people who perfectly sane, and then things will just some shit will happen to them, and they'll just that's it for a while. So it's that, and they do a good job with it in terms of this the whole fart, and they have a whole joke with the whole scatological humor thing with it, but they get into a lot of like just. And I thought it had me distracted. It's one of those movies that had me distracted in that way. It did a lot of misdirections. It made me think I go in one way. And then with the reveal, it's like, oh, that's what it is. All right, no problem. So a second viewing was necessary to do a proper review.
All right. Well, I'm wondering if I have to watch this thing twice to really do.
Yeah.
I am going to watch it.
You can watch it once.
I am going to watch it, but I really want to give my review after the first viewing.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's what next time.
Next time may not be next episode, but certainly next month.
Yeah.
I'm going to check it out because, from November, go all the way down to roughly before Christmas. That's when I'm going to try and catch up on like shows that I missed out during the year. And, I'm going to start compiling my top 10 list as well too.
Okay.
Right. So now we're going to move on to the moment I hope you guys are waiting on. This is our top 5 lists of favorite horror movies.
Yeah.
Now, like I mentioned before the very beginning of this this recording, these are not the conventional horror movies that you always hear about every single year. So no, I'm not going to talk about Halloween or Friday the 13th or Cabin in the Woods or Drag Me to Hell or Shining and blah 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 blah. It's not that kind of thing.
Not popular shit.
Yeah, but these are films that are certified classics, at least in my opinion, and they can be classified as horrors, but the way how they are, just the nature about them, period, it's just so different, so weird, so unique that I know that a lot of people may not have heard about these shows before, but like I said, maybe you saw a picture of it somewhere or a meme or something like that, or gift somewhere, but these films I could highly recommend right off the bat. And these are films that, I really think that you should check out, if you're looking for something a little different, I mean, how many times are you going to watch Halloween in your lifetime,
Right. I mean,
to be honest. Great movie otherwise, but I don't need to watch this show every Halloween. Just saying.
Yeah. For me, I just like obscure, strange movies.
Hey, me too.
And they tend to, right, of course. And they tend to fall into the Halloween horror section. But it's more, I like stuff that subverts horror well.
Yes, so, me too.
If you do that quite well, again, that's why I love Drag Me to Hell. It's hilarious, but it's subverted horror.
Me too.
It's subverted horror.
Yeah.
And I just like to look for disturbing, strange movies, mostly in terms of visuals, especially from the 1980s.
Oh boy, the grand year for horror movies, guys.
So we don't get to see a lot of that.
Right. All right. Well, So first on my list is a movie from 1971. Now, if you guys remember from our nostalgic review that we did a while back, where we talked about A Clockwork Orange, which came out in 1971.
Yeah.
And I mentioned the fact that 1971 gave us some of the most controversial movies ever made. Of course, Clockwork Orange, Dirty Harry, French Connection, Straw Dogs. The Last Picture Show, I've heard has sparked some controversy as well too. But there's one particular movie that a lot of people don't really mention. It also was released by Warner Brothers. Amazing how they managed to do that. They just had a field year because they had A Clockwork Orange, Dirty Harry, and this movie right here, to get people riled up against them. What I'm talking about is The Devils. This is a feature film directed by legendary British director Ken Russell.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not too familiar with his work. Like, I've seen a few of his movies. Actually, I saw 3 movies in total. So the first one that I ever saw, I know this is a show that you have seen that you love these obscure horror movies, was one called Altered States.
Yeah,
1980, very trippy, very weird shit. Like this shot of this Christ figure with a goat head with spider eyes. Like when you see that, you cannot unsee that shit. That just burns its way into your skull. You cannot unsee that shit.
Classic movie.
Yeah. And that show really, utilized a lot of trippy imagery.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into the story, of course, but yeah, if you love that kind of weird shit, definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Another movie that I saw from that I honestly enjoyed a lot was Tommy.
Right.
That's a 1975 musical film, a rock opera. It was a film adaptation of the classic album Tommy, which is from The Who, Kids Ask Your Parents. And once again, using these sort of trippy psychedelic...
Ask your grandparents.
Yeah, ask your grandparents. A very upbeat, very fun, very, energetic movie, but with a lot of psychedelic images as well. I mean, it's the 70s, guys, so, it was a lot of experimentation going on in terms of cinema.
Yeah.
So The Devils came out 2 years roughly after he brought out a Oscar-winning film called Woman in Love. I think that's the name of it. Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I heard that it gained a few Academy Awards and stuff. So this is basically a historical drama, but just the overall tone of this is downright eerie and scary, and it just gets very, very, very extreme in certain points.
Yeah.
So it's based partly on a book that was released in 1952 called The Devils of Loudun.
Right.
And it's also based on a play called The Devils by John Whiting.
Where the plays came before? Or after?
Yeah, the play came before.
All right. Okay,
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really like this sort of dramatized account of a true story that took place in France, 17th century France. Okay, so the story kind of goes like this, right? So there was this community, this town in France called Loudun, and apparently it was a Protestant state.
Right.
So this was around the time when Cardinal Richelieu and Louis the 13th were trying to stop these Protestant uprisings.
Right.
And well, at least according to them, the last stronghold where they felt that an uprising could take place was this town called Loudun. Now, right after the governor of that town died, there was this priest by the name of Urbain Grandier, played excellently by Oliver Reed. And he is like this very influential figure in this town. He's very outspoken. He comes in, he speaks his mind. He's really a strong force in terms of defending this town and whatnot. And shockingly enough, he is also very, well, I could say he's a lot of local women are attracted by this guy. They see this guy as this sort of star, like this handsome, sexy dude now.
Right.
And it's not played for kicks. It actually is an integral part to the story.
Right.
So this one particular woman, she's a nun, played excellently by Vanessa Redgrave, who steals who steals his performance perfectly.
Yeah.
She, is attracted to this guy in a rather sexual manner. These are like, she's part of this convent, just a large amount of nuns, and they kind of give off this idea early on that they are like sexually repressed. It's all about, stay focused on God and Christ and, get rid of these carnal thoughts. But with her, it's this sort of unnatural, weird balance where she's trying to stay chaste, she's trying to stay noble, but at the same time she can't help but fantasize about this guy. And then there's these few sort of hallucinatory scenes where she imagines Grandier as Christ, basically him on a cross and him coming down, and then she's wiping his feet with her hair, and basically kind of having sex with this dude.
Right.
And it's very crazy, very weird. But anyway, so the powers that be, the people who were involved in trying to destroy Loudun, take notice of this guy's influence, and they try to figure out a scheme to really to destroy the town, and they want to use him as like a scapegoat. So his character now basically is that he is this immoral character. He goes to church, he prays and whatnot, but he's the type of person that will go behind people's back and sleep with people, with men's daughters and wives and stuff. And he always kind of brushes off like, yes, I'm not perfect, I'm a man and whatever, you know.
Right.
So he plays that balance as well too, same way with Vanessa Redgrave's character. It's always about, yeah, I'm bad and all that, but I could just, you know, pray and say, you know, 10 Holy Marys and I'll be fine, you know.
Right.
But there comes a point in time in the show where he kind of, you know, reveals himself and to other people that, you know, he can't live this life anymore. He can't be playing this duality in his life. So he finds this one girl, he falls in love with her, and they get married in secret. And through some circumstances, which I won't reveal, the nun, Vanessa Redgrave's character, finds out about it. And, you know, she, you know, gets, you know, she just goes off, like, she just goes insane. She was insane, actually, but she just goes a little crazy because of, you know, her learning about the marriage and stuff.
Right.
So, not to spoil everything that happens here, the powers that be find out about this convent. They see these nuns. They see, you know, Redgrave's character in particular being crazy. And then she spreads this lie that Grandier has this powerful influence over her and the convent, you know, and, you know, it's all about, oh, well, it's Grandier's fault, he did that, and then he becomes this sort of political scapegoat, like, yes, you have been influencing these nuns, and now we must kill you and stuff, and I'll stop right there in terms of the plot, you know. For me, the first time I saw it, before I get to the first time I saw it, as I said before, this is a highly controversial movie, actually one of the most controversial movies ever made. The time it came out, you know, it sparked a lot of controversy. It's still banned in many countries,
really?
because of the political and religious nature of it. You know,
right.
Just being able to touch on these things and making people feel rather uncomfortable with it. And, you know, to the untrained eye, people watch this and say, you know, this is some kind of blasphemous shit. You know, why are we having nuns doing all this crazy stuff, all this talk about Christ and, you know, people being, you know, immoral and stuff like that. But it's really touching on this very serious point that a lot of movies since then have touched on, even quite recently, Birth of a Nation,
right,
where people love to take religion, love to take the Bible, love to take particular verses and, you know, try and twist them in their own base personal ways. And, you know, they figure, well, you know, we could be carnal as much as we want to because we're human. But, you know, all we just have to do is just pray to God and everything will be fine. You know, He'll just wash our sins away and everything is going to be all easy like that. But with this movie now, they touch on it on this grander political scale, you know?
Yeah.
But really why I call this a horror is just because of the eerie tone it has. Just from the word go, it has these very outlandish, very psychedelic imagery that, you know, is prominent throughout this movie. But just the tone of it, you know, and, you know, the music as well too. Brilliant music throughout, which really sets up this eerie vibe. But what I love though, and what makes it even scarier, is that, you know, when moments are at their most extreme, at their highest level, you know, the music will go into this kind of sort of a cacophonous kind of tone. So you hear different instruments just playing at the same time. It's just giving you this sense of unrest, you know, just of unease, you know. And it works very well in setting up that tone. More particularly in the climax, which I won't spoil, but I would say is probably one of the most disturbing climaxes you will see in a movie. Right? The performances are fantastic. You know, Oliver Reed kills it. Vanessa Redgrave kills it as well too. And the other, you know, performers are great as well too. I love the cinematography, music I mentioned as well too. And, you know, what I really love about it too is that it gives, you know, it presents this really absurd, very outlandish look at, you know, like, you know, and, you know, as a viewer, you're gonna watch this like, wait, this really happened? You know, Cardinal Richelieu or Louis XIII would really do those kind of weird characters. They would really like that. And that really all goes to show to Ken Russell's aesthetic. You know, everything is larger than life. Everything is over the top. Even right down to the set design. It's just so unique, so different. There are a couple of moments where you could tell, well, I kind of know why he's going like that, Ken Russell. But there are a couple of moments where it felt a little pretentious, a little too much.
Yeah.
One particular scene in particular, well, where, which was actually cut out from the initial release, is what has been now known as the Rape of Christ scene.
Okay.
Which, in a nutshell, involves a bunch of naked nuns and a statue of Christ.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
But that scene was cut. But the thing is that when I first saw it, I saw the uncut version. So that scene was there. And like the funny thing is that like when it was actually released on like home media, that scene was taken out. But it was mentioned as well.
Right.
So I saw it in a kind of bleached out, kind of choppy kind of way. Like the quality of it looked different.
Okay.
But yeah. So long story short, this is a very intriguing movie. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not a show that everybody is gonna like. But in terms of horror, I think that it qualifies as one of the best that I have seen.
Right.
Critics actually have hailed this film as probably the best British movie of all time, which is amazing in my opinion as well too. And
Okay.
a lot of people consider this to be Ken Russell's masterpiece, you know. So I strongly recommend you check it out. It's weird, it's trippy, but it's very thought-provoking, very insightful, and very challenging as well too. If you're looking for challenging horror flicks, guys, then by all means check out The Devils.
All right.
So guys, if you're still curious about this show, you could look up online for the trailers, but I highly recommend that you do not watch the UK trailer, because not only is it the longer trailer, but it gives off a little too much about what the story is
Okay,
about.
it
Even in the narration,
TMI
it
trailer.
tells you everything that you need to know.
Yeah, TMI trailer.
Yeah, so watch the even creepier American version. It's shorter,
Right.
sweeter, but I still love the UK trailer as is. Right, so yeah, so that's my number 5. So
Right. Yeah, so my number 5. My number 5, I'll have to go with Dead Heat.
Dead Heat.
Yes.
Awesome title. All right, what is it about?
Dead Heat is about...
Oh, well, sorry. Give us a little background when it came out.
Oh, what was the year? You probably had to pull up some data on this. I just remember how awesome this movie was. Starring Treat Williams.
All right.
Yes, and what it is... not too much to talk about because it's just more funny than anything. Starring Treat Williams, what he is, he's a cop, and he basically is investigating some unusual crime and involving a technology that's bring back flesh from the dead, essentially. And what happens is that he was killed.
All right.
Yeah.
It's from 1988.
Okay, right, 1988.
Directed by Mark Goldblatt. I'm reading this off of Wikipedia.
Okay.
And it has Vincent Price. Holy shit,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Listen, eh?
And basically, it's a guy who he got killed, and then the technology brought him back. He was brought back to life. He basically had to solve his own murder. That's it. So it's him just talking about the death. They have a couple of creepy moments with him with a mirror shot. There's a really funny mirror scene to this. It's played largely for laughs, kind of tongue-in-cheek, kind of Verhoeven-ish.
Right.
You know, a lot of violence, a lot of guns. Not much to talk about with this. I just want to kind of cut through my list quick.
Yeah, but can I mention how it can impact me? Well,
No, I just thought, okay,
but how
so,
did it impact you?
so
How did you end up?
it's, again, I like subversion of horror, or subversion of horror tropes, and this does that quite well. It's a zombie trope, but it does the zombie trope quite well. Again, they get into technology and immortality, because the bad guys, that's what they wanted to do. Basically, use the technology to become immortal in some way. And he basically had to solve his own murder. They have a really, really awesome action sequence where the technology gets exposed to a bunch of dead meat in a slaughterhouse. So the body of a cow wakes up, which is hilarious and awesome. It's a really funny stop motion action sequence.
Right.
I totally recommend this movie. It does humor quite well. There's another really funny scene where the two guys had like bushy guns, bushy guns. You know, Uzis was big in the 80s.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
the two of them, because both of them dead, they just blasted at each other like and they just waste the entire clip on each other, which is so funny and well done. And then what happens is that how he beat him is that he kicks him into a room, and then throws in a grenade and then closes the door, and that's how he defeats him. Is that like bullets can't kill you, but
grenades certainly should.
Should deal with you, and that it just was really well done. And yeah, eventually they just solved the problem. They killed the bad guy, basically a kind of RoboCop style kind of thing. That's just my quick number 5.
It sounds like something that you could enjoy with friends, get drunk, laugh at,
Total, but it's a really great homage of, just a great send-up of the horror tropes, great action, really funny.
All right. Well, I'll get to my number 4. A show that I actually recommend that you watch with friends. How inebriated you are or your friends are depends on your overall enjoyment of this movie. I'm talking about a 1977 Japanese horror movie called House.
Yeah.
The Japanese name is Hausu, Hausu.
Yeah.
It's a show that I never heard of before in my life, but I actually stumbled onto it through the Criterion Collection. I love those guys. I love the movies that they put out. Actually, this year they've been putting out a lot of great movies. So check their website out. But yeah, this movie, never heard of it before. But it's directed by Nobuhiko Obayashi.
Right.
He's a legendary Japanese filmmaker when it comes to like experimental stuff. He made a number of great experimental stuff in the 60s, but cut to the 70s now, and this was around the time in Japanese film history where they were desperately looking for, studios were desperately looking for the next big hit. So they started to dabble with the Pinku era of movie making.
Right.
These sort of X-rated films, a lot of sex and nudity and stuff.
Right.
So Toho, the company that
Yeah.
brought this out, you would know them as the ones that brought out the Godzilla series. Yeah. They were looking for like a big summertime movie, something that would draw younger viewers in. So they looked to, Steven Spielberg's Jaws for inspiration,
Right.
which would explain why the title is, just one word, house, right? And they got this guy on board, and what he did, at the time, his daughter was 11 years old, and, she had like these nightmares, and, they would have these conversations about said nightmares. Most of these things kind of got into this movie, and what I would tell you in a nutshell, it's about this high school student, this girl, her name is Gorgeous. So yeah, the main characters have these nicknames now, right? So she is trying to figure out where to go for the summer vacation. She gets invited by her aunt to go to her house, which is like deep in the woods. So think of it like a cabin in the woods kind of thing.
Okay.
Kind of like pre-Evil Dead kind of shit. Yeah.
Right.
So she invites her 6 friends. Kung Fu, my favorite character in the whole show. Fantasy, Prof as in Professor, Mac, short for stomach, because she's chubby and she eats a lot. So yeah, we had to call her Mac, man. Sweet and Melody. So it's these 7 girls. They go deep into the woods. They find the house, and they're spending time with the aunt. They're having fun, and then, as you would expect in a haunted house movie, because yes, this is a haunted house movie, lots of weird shit happens. And I'm not talking about, it's how howling winds and smashing windows and stuff. I mean like really, really weird shit. Like a severed head bites one of the characters in the ass. What else happens? A piano eats one of the characters, chops off their fingers. All kind of weird shit takes place. But for me, yeah, the show, what really drew me in right off the bat is just its weird psychedelic tone, and I mean borderline weird shit, but in a very kind of goofy, enjoyable kind of way. Like think of it like a live action episode of Scooby-Doo, but just done in this really trippy Japanese vibe. So there's a lot of Japanese pop culture, a lot of references as well too. There's an awesome soundtrack as well too, by this pop band called Go Daigo. The lead singer actually appears in the show. He's a very great singer as well too. He comes up with these really whimsical, very catchy songs that play throughout the movie. And speaking of soundtrack, there's a particular, I would call this the theme of the show that plays throughout this movie. Now, when I say throughout, I mean nearly every minute of this movie, you hear the song playing. You hear different versions of the song being played. You even have a point in time where you hear one version being played and then another version, which kind of hints that, something that took place before, some memory or something like that. It's to the point that it kind of feels like the show is kind of bashing you over the head, playing the same melody over and over and over. But it kind of adds to how, just weird and just how much on edge the viewers should be while watching this. Like, just from the word go, the movie is just, what I would say, it really plays a lot on just the artificial nature of it. There's tons of shots. Literally every shot, there's something weird, something off-putting about it. Whether it's a freeze frame, whether it's the way how one scene dissolves into another, or just the type of special effects that use. There's something so artificial about everything that you see on screen. And speaking of special effects, there are moments where they throw so much of visuals in your face. Like literally, like in the last 45 to half hour of this show, they throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink. Literally, there's just so much things that just are thrown in front of you that it will, all upon your first viewing, will leave you kind of dizzy, lightheaded and stuff. Yeah. So it's kind of easy to say, yes, it's a type of show you have to get high to enjoy. And, if you want to get high and watch it, fine. But there's a lot of, subtle, messages, one in particular, a theme about, promises, about, holding on to a promise, even when the person who made the promise may not live up to that promise after all. There's themes about the World War II and Hiroshima and just different things about Japanese history. There's even a segment which sort of simulates a silent film. It does that very well as well too. But it is dark as well too. But there's a lot of humor. It has this kind of goofy, whimsical vibe about it. But it does get darker. It does get trippier. With especially in the last act, which I'm not gonna spoil. Like I said, Kung Fu is one of my favorite characters. She has her own freaking theme music. Like, she's the kind of person that every time something's about to happen, like some kind of threat, she literally does Kung Fu. She does some kind of kick. And it just doesn't do the music. Her theme song is just so 70s, boy. Oh my God, I can't even describe it. But, every sequence where she does it is just like, what the fuck? And the whole movie is this big WTF, this big gigantic WTF. But it's the creativity that they put into the show, from the visuals to, the acting was great as well too. Just everything about it is just so strange, so different, so unique. And, in case you were wondering, it was a big hit in Japan at the time. It did receive a lot of negative, reviews from critics, I can imagine. Half of them was like, what the hell is this shit? I don't understand this.
Right.
But over time, it, it earned a lot of cult status. And, as a cult film connoisseur, I strongly recommend that you do check it out. If you love your cult films, definitely check it out. If you're looking for something totally different and out there and strange and weird, definitely watch it. But what I would say is, though, that, it's best to watch it with friends. But if it's the type of show that you watch by yourself and then you invite your friends over for a second viewing and just watch their reaction while they watch the show, they're going to be like, dude, what the fuck is this shit you have me watching here?
Right.
But yeah, definitely check it out. House, love it. Yeah, that's my number 4.
Yeah, cool. My number 4 is Pulgazari.
Can you spell that, please?
Pulgrasi.
All right, Pulgazari. What is Pulgazari?
Yes. So what this movie is basically a North Korean kaiju movie. That's what it was.
North Korean, all right. Intriguing.
Yes. Here's the thing. It's a North Korean kaiju movie based on basically North Korean history and law and mythology. But what makes it incredibly strange is it's also a political allegory, obviously. But against the state.
Ooh, okay.
So that was shocking.
Yeah.
The story behind it is actually quite strange and unusual. What happened is that apparently the filmmaker who created it, forget the director's name.
But he's South Korean, right?
Yes, if I remember correctly. No, he's Japanese, I think.
He's Japanese?
Yeah. He was
Okay.
kidnapped by the state. I think he got into the state for some reason and he couldn't leave. The state
Right.
wouldn't let him. I think it's Kim Il-sung or Kim Jong-il, one of them. I think it's father or the son, I can't remember.
Okay.
It's basically, he was stuck there. I think it was Jong-il. This is when Jong-il now came in. Jong-il is a big fan of movies. You know,
Right.
Jong is a huge Hollywood, big fan of movies, love movies. And basically...
Propaganda,
Pretty much. And
Yeah.
he basically wanted to keep them. So what ended up happening is that they ended up creating a film against the state, kind of making fun of the family. Well, it have all these kind of pseudo-royal families in North Korea. And yeah, it's a really strange and baffling movie. The story,
What's it about?
yeah, basically it's about a dragon, and the people. I think the dragon was hiding gold and blocking a cave, and it had a whole legend of the
Oh yeah, that sounds like a
and
folk tale.
right, and people had to fight against the dragon. It had a whole thing. So he decided to change up the story a little bit. It's a lot of license with the material. It's really the fascinating aspect. I think it's the story behind the story that makes it more interesting than the actual movie itself. But it's still a really great kaiju movie and done a great monster movie.
Yeah. Is it like weird and really?
Yeah, unusual
Yeah,
visuals and trippiness. Kind of classic. It's more a monster movie, and I was thinking of whether or not this belongs on the list. Because but it's just because it's so strange and unusual because of the circumstances. I think that more makes it more interesting to me.
Yeah, that actually makes it even more intriguing. Yeah, I want to see that movie because
So yeah, that's a quick number 4. Not much to talk about because the top 3 films are so strange and unusual. I'll put them on the list.
I find you doing things like real short though, like you're saving the best.
No, it have nothing to talk about that much with it because it's like if the backstory is that him of the filmmaker, he just decided he escaped eventually. And he lives in the United States making films to this day still, if I remember correct. I don't think he died. I had to look up the story with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome.
Okay. All right. Well, number 3 is a movie that both of us are familiar with. I was wrestling between this and what I think is his best movie, Mulholland Drive, from 2001. But, Mulholland Drive was going for a more neo-noir mystery kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Same thing with, his 1986 film, Blue Velvet, which really pretty much put him in the mainstream. But, well, yeah, mainstream pretty much. I was thinking Elephant Man in 1980, but,
Right.
yeah. But what I'm talking about here, of course, for those who don't know, I'm talking about, David Lynch, legendary surrealist director. I'm talking about his debut movie, still one of his best works, Eraserhead.
Yep.
Released in 1977. It took him roughly 5 years to make. He got a grant from this college. I can't remember what college or university he was from, but he was working nights with this talented cast and crew to make this thing work. The story, it's about a guy called Henry Spencer. He lives in this very cold, I can't even call it dystopian, but just very cold,
Yeah,
bleak, dark,
dystopian, yeah.
sort of weird. Yes, we're going to be using weird, the word weird a lot. Industrial town. And he has a girlfriend, and she is just in a world of her own as well too. Just even the opening, the establishing shot of her just inside of this house, staring, peeking outside, that sort of look of, despair on her face, it just
Yeah.
really sells it. And they have, well, through some kind of weird circumstance, I'm not going to reveal, they have a baby.
Baby, yes.
Yeah, they
That's
have
what
a
I was trying to
baby.
remember. The baby's the
Yeah, that
freakiest shit
baby
you ever
alone, guys.
Will fuck you up,
Yeah, puts this movie in horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, that baby is like 50 Shades of fucked up.
Yeah.
Just how they came up with that is wow, And, to this day, Lynch himself hasn't really revealed, the mechanics behind it. Although if you do get the Criterion, collection DVD or Blu-ray, I actually have the DVD for it. If you look close, you would see some wire work taking place with the mouth.
Yeah.
2 wires by the mouth itself. Like, oh, that's how you do your sneaky bastard. But just the mechanics behind it, there's no behind the scenes as to how that creature was created.
Yeah.
But basically, once that baby has, been put into this world, Henry finds himself like in just a series of, there's a number of just these dreamlike hallucinations, each of which gets more bizarre and more frightening, with every passing minute of this movie. So, for those who are very, very cinephilic, this is like a landmark in terms of surrealist films, in terms of cult films. This is probably one of the best ever. This should be like in the top 10
Yeah.
best cult movies ever. What I love about it personally is just this dark tone that just permeates throughout this entire movie. It really literally feels like this is a dream.
Right.
And it's a perfect decision to shoot this film, by the way, in black and white. It looks gorgeous in black and white, but just the dreamlike aspect of it, it feels like this dream that just keeps playing, just keeps flowing through your mind.
Yeah.
But as the plot develops, it just gets more and more bizarre, get more and more frightening, and kind of hard to really place, because, there are moments that kind of just play like, okay, this is some kind of weird fantasy or some kind of drama that I'm watching. This is not really anything scary. But then when you least expect it, something hits you just out of nowhere and just jolts you out. And that's what I loved about it. This is sort of dreamlike state, like you're watching this thing, you're seeing things kind of play out, and you're just getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the show, until something kind of jolts you and it's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, this is getting really nightmarish.
Yeah.
The acting is very minimalist. The story is very bare bones. I think it was like a 25-page script. But, Lynch managed to expand this thing into this really weird sort of personal take on his personal fears, growing up, well, not really growing up, but him having to accept responsibilities, having his first child, being in this environment that he didn't like, which was actually Philadelphia. He just didn't like the crime and just the feel of that, that state, that town at the time.
Yeah.
And, just him being able to take all these fears and put it in this one movie is amazing. But, even if I don't know all the hidden meanings behind it, it's one of those shows that I could always go back and pick up on something new, or just be swept away by its dreamlike state, or just, just be amazed by it throughout. It's like it's another film that everyone will like or appreciate because of just the pace of it. But I thoroughly enjoy it for what it is. It's very unique. It's very different. It's very original. Oh yes, and then another thing I forgot to mention was the sound design. It has a lot of like industrial noise, a lot of hissing, a lot of just different noises that you hear, and every once in a while you will hear like this pipe organ like just playing in the background,
Yeah.
and then gets louder and louder. So it feels like just being in this world that that you don't want to be in, but there's always some kind of sense of hope, some kind of sense of some familiarity somewhere, or some joy, but it's fleeting. It's something that just literally blows in the wind. There's tons of scenes that will stick with you, even if you see the show once in your life. But I strongly recommend, especially like if you are a diehard fan of films, and even with cult films and surrealist stuff, just weird shit, definitely check out Eraserhead. It's one of his best works. And yeah, nothing much more I could say about it.
Nice.
Definitely check it out.
Sure. My number 3 is Nightbreed.
Nightbreed.
Yeah.
All right. All I know it's from 1990 and
Clive
it's
Barker.
from Clive Barker. He
What?
directed it or wrote it?
No, wrote, I think.
All right.
Yeah. What is this movie about?
Yeah. What is this movie about?
Basically, it's about, so what it's about is that all the stuff that you think is like folklore characters, they're real. And they were
okay.
it's actually really humans in a different form, but they were hunted to extinction more or less, and then treated as monsters by history. System kind of destroyed them. And the main character, who's a human, you learn that he's one of the members of the Nightbreed, what we call Nightbreed historically. The term Nightbreed means people who, these strange creatures. So it's all the folklore creatures, all these monsters historically, werewolves.
All right.
And basically, it's them having to hunt down a killer. The leader of the Nightbreed he's this hidden society more or less. And the killers have this guy who's a killer, so the main guy thought he was the killer because he didn't have any memories of what was going on. We find out that he's not the killer, and I think David Lynch himself. No, it's Cronenberg.
Yeah, Cronenberg.
You have a Cronenberg film coming up.
Yes,
Right.
we do. Spoiled it.
He's in this film as the villain, I think. He's the doctor, pretending to be doctor, and then reveal the whole thing with him revealing to be this serial killer type person.
All right.
And then the big third act structure is hilarious, where all the Nightbreed have to go to war with the town of police and a bunch of rednecks, and that's basically the finale. So the monsters and creepy guys are the good guys.
All right.
And it's just them against society, and it's kind of the whole idea of the other, and they have a whole basically. Well, from what I understand, if you know, I forget the Clive Barker's real life. Clive Barker's a gay man. So
he is. I
think
never
he
knew
is,
this.
if I remember correctly. And basically, so the subtext of the allegory is basically a gay man coming to terms to himself and so on. So basically, it's just him having to find this all other world kind of lifestyle and stuff.
Right, finding shelter.
And then them having to defend themselves against mainstream society.
Okay, I
That's
get
what it's
that.
about.
Right.
It is unbelievably bananas. Very, very well done. Very well shot. Good monster makeup. Great character development, and solid movie.
All right.
I strongly recommend this. Not much to talk about.
Yeah, I know you and you're not much to talk about, but just before I get to my number 2, Clive Barker actually, well, at least his movies were ones that I would admit, never got into.
Yeah.
I always skipped Hellraiser because I just heard all kind of bad, weird, freaky shit about it. I just never bothered to.
Hellraiser is something I never got into, surprisingly.
Yeah, it just felt too extreme for me.
I know, but Hellraiser is something I just kind of. I just felt when I got into it, I was like, especially Hellraiser 2, it was just kind of lame. I was like, oh, this is it? Okay.
Yeah, or just character. I heard like in that one particular Hellraiser 2, there were characters didn't care about people just dying. It's like I don't give a fuck.
That's the problem. I hate a lot of horror movies. Just more scare tactics bullshit.
Right. There was one that he brought out called Lord of Illusions. I honestly remember that. I don't know how I do, but I actually remember that. You see, like I said, Clive Barker. I don't know why I just never got into his work. I don't know why. But Nightbreed sounds interesting enough. Maybe I should check that.
Unusual.
That's why I give him credit for the strange and unusual, because I mean Hellraiser, come on, something like that was just yeah. All right, so good little segue there, because now we're gonna get to the 80s, where because I touched on 3 films from the 70s already, so now my last 2 are in the 80s. Yes, 70s and 80s brought us some great horrors. I mean, no offense to you 90s and 2000s and 2010 horror fans out there, but the 70s and 80s gave us some damn good horror movies, man. Come on. So, my number 2 movie, as you mentioned, David Cronenberg, is actually Videodrome, which he brought out in 1983. I was wrestling between this and The Fly, but I figured because The Fly is more sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's more sci-fi than horror.
Right.
It has horrific stuff about it, but you could still classify it as a sci-fi.
Right.
Just off that premise alone. But Videodrome is where it kind of went into the horrific vibe. Now, that's a quick thing about David Cronenberg. Well, with his career when he started off actually with the horror, with just these little low-budget horrors, right? But then with movies like The Brood from 1979, really decent horror movie, has a very fucked up finale, by the way. And Scanners from 1981.
Right.
He went into something called body horror.
Yeah.
Now, you know what body horror is, right?
Yeah.
Well, you want to...
Yeah, body horror is basically the idea of the human body not supposed to be doing this and that, or you're not supposed to see it in this way, that, or the other. So you'll see like a fingernail tear off, or skin and body bones and things twisting up in a certain way. Basically, just see the human body in a way that it's not supposed to be.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
hey, that arm not supposed to bend this way. The knee not supposed to bend like that.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Flesh bone sticking out like this. So the fly was like that. Had a lot
Yeah,
of that.
it had a lot of that. Yeah.
Recently,
Man, ear came up.
the one little thing that defended used to defend the fantastic crappy movie that came out.
Oh, right, yes. It was.
It had a little bit of body horror.
Yeah,
in
it did. It did.
You know, the whole idea of what happened in the body will stretch out and oh shit, and crap, my man body not supposed to shut like that, or the skin and like what happened when they transformed for the first time.
Yeah, and you imagine if they kept that tone and they made it R-rated, it would have been a little better.
It's basically the idea of, you know, again, the human body not supposed to do that, but the idea that if you were to have superpowers or something like that, yeah, you would have a body horror aspect if it were to play out like actual biology.
Yeah.
Actual biology is horrific. You know, you ever see, you know, a live birth? Gross, right?
Gross, yeah.
Right. So, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So it's,
Yeah. Right. So, So, oh yes, and there was a couple other films that.
what I mentioned, Stan Brakhage is like the original body horror.
Oh gosh!
Yeah.
Don't even get me with
Yeah.
what a BD.
Yeah, that is true horror.
Yeah. But anyway, right. So, you know, with his other work, you know, there was one they brought in 91 called Naked Lunch,
Yeah.
a show that I saw and I was just completely fucking baffled. I was like,
Yeah.
I do not understand this show. I'm sorry. I know Peter Weller's in it, Robocop, but I
Yeah.
don't understand a single thing about this show. I don't understand.
I
Why
never
is
saw
a
it.
typewriter turning into a fucking cockroach? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
I
This
never
makes no sense.
got it. I never saw it.
Yeah, and then, well, his most accessible work to date being A History of Violence,
Right.
which I love.
Love them.
And you always love to quote,
Yeah.
how could you fuck this up,
Yeah,
man?
how
could
do you fuck that up? Yeah.
Yeah. But Videodrome to me is it was David Cronenberg, you know, just kind of reaching that level where, yeah, I could do the body horror stuff, but it's not just about grossing people out. I could also kind of force the viewer to kind of think about things. And in this case, it involves the character of Max Wren, played by James Woods. Family Guy fans will know who we're talking about with James Woods.
Yeah,
right.
Well, he's kind of known as a conservative in today's circles. You know, so he's not too popular on Twitter amongst the liberals.
I told you, like, he retired, like he don't do nothing anymore.
Yeah, not really. But
Yeah.
for Family Guy, he was popular as Family Guy. Piece of candy.
And he was awesome in this show from John Carpenter, Vampires. Remember that?
Yeah, no, yeah. He's a great actor and he's a fantastic voice actor as well. One of my favorite roles of his, he played Owlman in Crisis on Two Earths, the animated
Oh,
movie.
really?
Yeah, he was
Okay.
Owlman. Fucking awesome. He's like the main villain.
Yeah.
Just a badass. And he's such a fantastic,
Yes,
great voice
yes,
actor.
yes.
Great actor. He's kind of a conservative douchebag.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about his,
Politics,
his politics, political views and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he plays he owns this sort of a small time TV network, really out there. It's called I think it's Channel 83. So, but his shtick is that he looks for the most extreme, the most sexual, the most perverse stuff that he can find. And, you know, he has this guy who, you know, searches through, you know, the not the airwaves actually, but he looks for pirate channels, and, you know, he not downloads, sorry, but he records, you know, content, really subversive content, and, you know, that's his MO. It's all about finding the worst stuff that, you know, that he assumes that the public wants to see, and he screens that kind of shit. So what happens that he stumbles upon a particular station, a particular channel, I should say, called Videodrome.
Right.
And in that, he sees, you know, somebody being tortured, like
Right.
really badly tortured. Now he's playing this off like, oh, this shit is simulated. All this is fake, man.
Yeah,
it looks so real. Look at the budget.
Right.
And, you know, slowly we realize, no, this is actually real.
Yeah.
But then the film kind of plays, you know, what is real and what's not, you know.
Right.
And, you know, as soon as he starts to play this and, you know, he starts to become more influenced by this particular channel, and then, you know, in terms of body horror aesthetics, he becomes more and more freakish, you know, physically and mentally wise. And then, you know, and it's all while he's trying to figure out, you know, the truth behind Videodrome. There's this
Right.
big conspiracy going on. about mind control, being able to take people's really darkest fantasies, sexual and violent, and showing it to the world. And
Right.
it's all these different things that I won't get into. But what really makes this film stand out is the special effects that we use at the time.
Yeah.
There's this one famous scene where he's watching TV, and there's on the screen you're seeing like these feminine lips. It's a woman talking to him, really,
Right.
very seductively. And he goes and shoves his head into the TV screen.
Right.
Like, almost like he's being sucked into the TV.
Right.
And, like I said, it's not just about the body horror aesthetic. It's not just about people, physically turning into monsters just because. It's this really, I could say, a prophetic subject about, the influence of TV, the influence of media,
Right.
At its base level, you could say, oh, well, this is just for people who like to say, oh, if you watch too much violent shows, you become violent yourself.
Right.
It's
The affected
a
media.
debate has been going on for years. I think it's kind of died down because of the whole PC culture, but still there.
That's interesting. It actually flared back up again under different circumstances. So, video game violence back in the 90s was a big thing. And
Of
then
course, with
now-
Columbine and stuff.
And
yeah.
now, right, and then now it's been revisited somewhat, especially with respect to gender culture. Like, well, does it really affect how we see women or something like that?
Yeah.
There's a whole back and forth. And well, Hillary Clinton became
Yeah.
more likely going to become president. She pushed for that a lot in back in the days. So it might flare up under her presidency
Right.
in terms of what media might do one way. Well,
Yeah, and then today, today as in the current time when I actually recap this movie,
Yeah.
I was thinking about just the idea of how desensitized we are to sex and violence.
Right.
Like I would throw. I'm not gonna say this is the prime example. Look at something like Walking Dead.
Right.
It's not an HBO show. It's on EMC. It's a network station. But look at the amount of gore and violence on that. You understand it because of what the show is about. But still, after 6 seasons, you kind of get desensitized to it. It's like, oh yeah, blood and guts. Yeah, just another day, just another episode.
Yeah.
That's just how media has become.
There's an interesting thing about the violence of a show because, like, what does make, like, for me, horror is like what could happen to you versus, well, that's more thriller, I suppose. Thriller versus horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the idea of if you're worrying about other people being manipulated. Because I have a lot of people who focus on Game of Thrones and think that's scary.
Yeah.
The politics and you could get your head locked up because somebody will betray you at this moment. Blah,
Right,
blah, blah.
right.
Maybe. So yeah.
Yeah. But and then also too, this is way before YouTube ever came out. This is the idea, and they actually mention it. Well, one character says it that in the world of the media, in the world of television, we will have our own identities. So it's not like it's almost to the point that we won't be human anymore. So case in point, you're watching some guy talking about something on YouTube. What if he stops becoming like an actual physical human being, and becomes this person in this tube, in this box, It's kind of weird like that.
No, that's the thing. I always think of Max Headroom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it came out before. Yeah, it came out before Max Headroom.
Right.
It's just that idea that you no longer become human. You become this entity. You become part of this not mechanical, this media world.
Yeah.
Inside the television, inside this
Yeah.
tube. And they play on it. They really address that in these really bizarre, creative, scenarios. Involving Max and just his desensitization and just him becoming something totally different. I'm not gonna say what happens here, but at this time it was very provocative, very unique for its time, very forward thinking. And today you can watch and be like, yeah, he was Cronenberg was onto something here. Yes, we are desensitized to violence. Yes, we have seen so much sex and stuff. Even like in music videos or hearing it on radio and stuff. It's we become numb to it. But just the way
Right.
how he approached it in this movie was so out there. And yes, you could kind of say it is a sci-fi kind of thing, but it has a lot of horrific stuff in it. Some weird stuff in it. Like in particular, there's one scene where Max Wren's hand turned into a gun,
Right.
and it's actually called the cancer gun. So he shoots someone. It's like these little, not pellets, but these sort of fleshy bullets. Apparently, and once you get shot, you get cancer. It's really weird like
Yeah.
that. But that's Cronenberg's mind. And he just went, full blast with this one. He just had a vision. He just went straight with it. And the result is arguably one of his best works. So, if you love 80s sci-fi horror movies, definitely check it out. If you look like I said before, if you're looking for something really different and something rather thought provoking, something that you could something really that is still relevant in today's world, then by all means, guys, check out Videodrome. That's my number 2. So, what's your number 1?
No, my 2. I ain't say my
All right, yeah, all right. Jeez, I'm sorry. I just want to get to my number 1, but what's your number 2?
Oh, let's pull up a list there. I'll have to say Mystics of Bali. Mystics in Bali.
All right, which I actually read about
Yes.
as probably one of the weirdest horror movies ever conceived.
It's based on Indonesian folklore.
Yeah.
Somewhat, and they get into a lot of the whole. So what's it about? It's basically a witch movie. So it's this really annoying girl. She goes to Indonesia.
Annoying girl.
Yeah, she goes to Indonesia. She's like, well, I need to study my some liberal arts course bullshit.
Oh, as a foreigner.
Right,
Okay.
she's American, and she gets free vacation to study. She goes to Indonesia, and then something strange happens, and she has to become a witch, and then she has to deal with witchcraft stuff, and it's basically a lot of Indonesian folklore. Again, more history story behind it. At the time, Indonesia had some shenanigans with respect to government stuff and American influence.
Right.
And so what end up having to happen is that they have to have 20% of the material have to be made locally. That was the impetus for this film.
All right.
That's kind of what caused this film to exist, in a sense. It was kind of a hard drive to find, but it was really controversial. It had all the sex and stuff in it. And
Oh, really?
witch stuff in it, and well, because people were so superstitious at the time, it's like, oh, this I can't watch this, scary stuff. And a lot of
Yeah.
people just have worries about ghosts and that kind of stuff on the screen.
What about the visuals?
Yeah, special effects at the time is crap as hell. I mean, it's just really, really crappy. But
I saw this shot with like a severed head,
a floating head, right?
head.
But that's a thing in Indonesian culture, the witch and the floating head thing. It's basically like akin to, but here's what's interesting about it. That like it's very parallel to what film in Trinidad has to be like. Like again, we need to go through that stage of making these kind of crappy movies.
Before we find the cool in it.
Yeah, a little bit. And I can totally see like a suku, like surprise. Nobody hasn't done any kind of proper local folklore film yet.
No, I know a lot of people have been playing around.
No,
I'm not calling names well,
you
playing around with the Papa Boa character.
Right, I know that, but that's too easy to shoot. But like, I would like to see just a simple horror film. But, just do
I would love to see a Sukuya movie.
Just do a quick, do a little Sukuya movie, do a larger blast movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Like easy, you could do easy things like that. Basically, anyway, the film is very unusual. It has a lot of witch stuff. They had to fight the witch at the ending. What? That final scene with that witch is so fucking hilarious. It's so well done.
I know I gotta love this show.
Yeah,
I love that.
I totally recommend it. I saw this about 5 years ago for the first time, and it just stuck in my head. And I was thinking, we could do that locally, like in my head.
Like imagine that show and House. That would be a perfect double feature.
Yeah, totally recommend this movie for people. She I think she died, and they had to make her a witch, and she had to get the powers from a local witch. And then she had to fight the local witch. You get local. So that was
What?
It was weird. It's hard to follow too because I saw a bad dub for it. That's the problem. I didn't get a proper dub for it. If I had a Criterion version of it, if they could eventually do that,
Well, that would be great.
That'd be great. But
one question though: is it like intentionally funny or is it
no,
like
it's not
just
intentionally
downright
funny.
unintentionally funny?
It plays itself. Yeah, it's unintentionally funny. It tries to play it straight for the most part. The dub is pretty crappy though. That was
Laughably bad.
Laughably bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
one of those like 70s kind of Euro dubs.
Oh,
Feel
yeah.
like that at times.
Yeah.
Like, hey, welcome, man. That kind of shit.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like, you could tell a lot of voiceover stuff, a lot of the ADR had to go on there. I recommend this as a quick run. Not much to talk about in that sense. Again, it's one of these. I just my list. Go see it.
Yeah.
If you find the time.
All right.
Yeah. What else to talk about with this movie? I think what was this? Oh, it was really hard to find for a long period of time. It was actually banned by the Indonesian government
Oh, really?
for a little while. Yeah, if I remember that. So mostly because of the superstition stuff.
Okay. I thought it was the
the
content.
and the sex stuff a little bit.
All right.
But it's a movie that was pretty bold, and it's like, oh, they actually pulled this off. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Okay, so I will get to my number 1 at long last. All right. It's a film that I also mentioned with our, review of Holy Mountain and Clockwork Orange. It's actually directed by your favorite director from Holy Mountain, Alejandro Jodorowsky.
Yeah.
It's arguably his most accessible work to date.
Right.
I'm talking about the 1989 movie Santa Sangre, which I actually watched a few days before the time of this recording, and now I could say it's one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life.
Good.
I love this movie.
Nice.
which is saying a lot, seeing that it's from Alejandro, and we always think like movies like Holy Mountain and El Topo are his best as well too. But to me, like, I haven't seen. I know that he did a couple more movies, but to me those three movies, El Topo, Santa Sangre, and this one are like his masterpieces. So I can't say that one is better than the other, but definitely Sangre. I love this show.
Yeah.
So it's actually set in modern time. It's filmed entirely in Mexico.
Yeah.
The version that I saw is actually in English, and there were moments I was warned. I believe that it was filmed in English. It could be that it was a Spanish dub. I'm not too sure, but I'll have to look it up. But it looks at times that this is an English show. But it stars three of Alejandro's sons.
Yeah.
Right. Axel, Eden, and Theo.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who is who, but basically they play three different characters. One of them, the oldest one, well, one of the oldest ones, is two old ones and a small one, right? So one of them plays the character of Phoenix, right? And he starts off in this mental institution. What happened is that years ago when he was younger, so he's played by the young Alejandro child, he was part of the circus troupe. And like he basically was born and raised in the circus. So his mother actually was good in terms of like tightrope work. The father was good in terms of like throwing knives and hypnotism.
Yeah.
Right. His mother was also part of this, I don't want to call it a cult, but just this religious group called Santa Sangre, or Holy Blood in English.
Right.
And what they did, they worshipped this girl who had her arms cut off by rapists. And her blood apparently, well, there's like this pool of blood that actually exists in this little makeshift church that they have in the town. And they worship this girl. They call her saint basically.
Right.
And they all dress in white. Sorry, not in white, in red, and they worship her and stuff, right? They sing songs and all that kind of stuff. And the government kind of saw them as this threat, and there's one scene where this pastor comes in, and the mother shows him the pool, and he looks at it like, wait, this is paint, this isn't blood. And this is blood. It's like, no, this is paint. And this kind of goes back to a theme that Alejandro loves to tackle, the absurdity of religion.
Yep.
Well, is it absurdity or just the
yeah, a little bit.
kind of? I kind of want to say just this whole. I don't know. It kind of just goes on.
I'll call it the absurd utility of religion.
Yeah, like it's something that you believe in, but at the same time, it's kind of like, why do you believe this?
Yeah,
this doesn't make any sense. But why do you believe in this?
It's the absurd utility of religion, because he's not very anti-religious. I can't say
he's not. He clearly understands the point and purpose of it.
Right.
But still, it's like you're worshiping this.
Not meant to be logical. Yeah.
But you had to believe in something, I guess.
Right.
So that's the approach. Right. So Phoenix actually witnesses the horrible mutilation of his mom. She actually gets her arms chopped off as well too, and his dad has also committed suicide. All of it takes place right in front of his eyes. It freaks out his mind, and then he spends his years in this mental institution until one day his mom shows up as and he actually escapes from the institution. And she now is on this sort of quest for revenge. She's going against these particular people, and just people that just wronged her in the past. And then it kind of develops into, okay, I just don't like this person. I want you to kill that person for me. So it has this sort of like Alfred Hitchcock Psycho, in terms of the mother fixation, where the mother character feels jealous of another woman, so she uses his son to do it. But in this case, it's like the mother's body, but the son's limbs, the son's arms. So the son literally kind of connects to her, like kind of holds onto her from behind, and they use their he uses his arms. So it's that kind of symbiotic kind of relationship.
Right.
And on the subject of that, just the timing of how they move in terms of her body movements and his arm movements is perfect.
Right.
So perfect. It's so amazing how they manage to pull it off. And it's just this kind of thing going on, and then at the same time we get a chance to understand what's going on with him psychologically. And this is one thing that I really loved about this movie. It's not just about, somebody gets stabbed and that's it. especially if it's somebody that you hate. And this is one thing that the show really does well. They give you characters that you genuinely hate. And, you know, it's not just because you're supposed to hate them. It's just because of the dark side of just humanity, of the world.
Right.
That's one thing that I really praise this movie for. You know, Alejandro really bravely showed just how dark humanity could be. In one scene in particular, it kind of plays off for kicks, but at the same time, it's really incredibly dark. So there's this one moment where Phoenix, right, the older Phoenix, he and a group of like these Down syndrome young men and women being taken to this movie night to see a movie, and then this sort of kind of like a pimp player kind of character played by the other Hodorowski's son. You know, he's kind of coming off, he's playing mambo music and stuff. Oh yeah, and by the way, the music in this movie, fucking incredible. Very incredible music. He gives one of the Down syndrome kids some cocaine, and then he hooks them up with this really like fat prostitute lady.
Yeah.
And like you watch this, like, yeah, this is kind of funny and absurd. But you see, and I was like, dude, this is kind of really fucked up, dude. You see what you're doing here? You know, but anyway, so yeah, like I said, it's not about, you know, the characters getting killed because it's a horror movie. We also get to see the psychological effects of that, because really, primarily, it's Phoenix doing these murders. But you really get to see how these things are affecting his mind. You know, even like I say, at a very young age, he was scarred by the death of his father, and you know what happened to his mother, and you know you could tell how that thing could kind of mess up someone's mind at a very young age. But you know, him being older and trying to figure things out, you know, he's mentally unstable still. Seeing how these things affect him was really profound. It really made the film sort of tragic in a way as well too. And of course, you know, Hodorowski's use of really trippy visuals, but they're all kind of metaphorical. In this case, most of the imagery that you see in it are metaphorical. It's not like Holy Mountain or El Topo where sometimes it's kind of like, you know, he's just playing these things off for kicks. You know, just about the absurd and playing off the absurd, but mostly times the imagery that you do see are very metaphorical. And I like how the fact that they kind of, one character actually says these are hallucinations. It's not just scenes thrown in the movie for the hell of it. It's just things that he's seeing, but you kind of have to understand why he's seeing these things.
Okay.
There's also references to, you know, movies from the from the 40s to 60s, you know, classic horror movies like The Invisible Man. There's also, you know, Psycho, like I mentioned, with the whole mother fixation. And even another movie, which I'm not sure if you ever heard of it, came out the same year with Psycho, called Peeping Tom.
Okay, I never saw it.
It's from Michael Powell. It came out in 1960. This show was so bad. No, like at the time, like when you watch it now, it's really tame.
Right.
But it was so shocking, so controversial in 1960. He actually gave it that X rating, right?
Okay.
And the director didn't even get any work after that. They like critics and people, so like pound on the guy, like how he could make something like this? Right. How? You know, the man just never made a film, you know, after that is really messed up. But anyway, this is one particular scene that takes place there that is kind of, you know, simulated in this movie, right? So I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, this show was very emotionally, I love the emotion behind it. It was, you know, it was funny when it needed to be. It was very poignant, very, you know, heartbreaking, very tragic. But at the same time, there was a sense of hope, a sense of joy, a sense of, that there is some good in this world. You know, it's not just about darkness and gloom and doom. You know, there is some sort of light out there. I know that's something that, you know, Holy Mountain touched on, you know, with all these different religions, all these different influences out there. There is the whole fact about living your life, you know, living it the way you should, you know. And it's something that he kind of touches on here in this movie. Performances were fantastic. I love the character who plays the mom. She absolutely kills it. The Hodorowski sons, especially the youngest one, they are great as well too. Like I said, it is in English, so there are sometimes where it kind of sounds like it's Mexican people trying to sound English or trying to speak English. But I didn't think it really hurt the film at all. I thought it kind of worked in its own weird way. Visuals, you know, lots of great visuals to really feast on. A lot of great moments in this show. You know, Hodorowski does not disappoint. You know, he shows us, he really proves why he's one of the best filmmakers out there, you know, ever in history. And, it's a shame that not that many people, know about his work. But, there are some people out there that, are rediscovering or are discovering,
Right.
shows like El Topo, Holy Mountain, and hopefully this one here.
Yeah.
So, I know you are a big fan.
Yeah,
Ricardo, definitely recommend this. This is probably one of the best horror movies. And yes, it is a horror movie, but more in a kind of tragic sort of feeble kind of style. And I'll just say this one last thing before we get to your number one. I'm not sure if a guy like Guillermo del Toro was influenced by this, but I don't know. I was watching this show and I was telling myself, this is like Pan's Labyrinth. This is like Devil's Backbone.
Yeah.
Not just because it's filmed in Mexico, but because of the sort of tragic
strong
sort of,
possibility.
the tragic kind of fairy tale kind of aesthetic to it. I could tell this is a show that he have to have seen at some point in time and have to have been influenced by. So definitely recommend this. One of the best horror movies ever. Don't sleep on Santa Sangre.
Yeah. Okay, so honorable mentions before my number one. Just two. In my head, I had Blood Freak. Really strange movie. It's about. It's actually a Christian story, but it's anti-drug.
Oh God!
The guy has.
When they say anti,
he's an anti-drug, and then he becomes a mutated turkey because of an experiment. It's really strange.
Okay.
But very funny. And then in the middle of it, the actual director spends time to monologue to the camera.
Oh Lord!
But that just the sheer weirdness of everything.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? God Wants Some Indian Flats. Strange movie. Another movie similar to Blood Freak.
Can you repeat that?
God Monster of Indian Flats.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. What it's about is it's based on Indian mythology, red skin stuff.
Yeah.
Really strange, and they have a whole thing with folklore and a guy who's a shaman, and it's really strange, but really funny, really well done.
Are those from the 60s? It sounds like
70s,
a real
80s. No, some of them
low budget kind of.
Yeah, but they're basically real low budget. Because I think, even in the days of Ed Wood, you had to still have the drive, and as I always say, it's more fascinating to just hear the story behind the story, because like you said before, relatively easy editing of today, you have to have the drive just to edit and cut a film. Just to finish a film is like
of course,
it's an effort still. So it's like, what? We're going through the people's head to make something like
this.
Yeah.
Right.
But number one, I'll have to go with one of the creepiest damn movies in a long damn time. This one, in my opinion, is still such a creepy and a total body horror. Society.
One that I have heard of, never saw it.
God damn, this movie was damn creepy and so strange. What's it about? It's about this guy, who's a wealthy guy, who gets caught up in that kind of secret society-ish kind of thing, about similar to Eyes Wide Shut kind of something.
Okay.
And then he finds out what kind of orgies he's into, and it's a kind of weird orgy thing, but there's a lot of body horror with the orgy, and you'll find out how and why.
I can imagine.
Creepy. Jeez, but the visuals in this was so damn strange. Like, jeez, boy, somebody would make this for camera, boy. Fuck.
Yeah. And that's from the 80s, right? Because the 80s was just all about just going that extra mile.
Yeah,
with
and it's
films.
it's basically why it's called Society is because it's about critique on capitalism and excess. And
I see.
That's what it is. That's the subtext, and they do a lot of work with the idea of excess embodied.
Right.
Especially to use body horror, it's like, oh well, if you have body horror, have you ever seen? I forget the artist's name, but there's a bunch of reasonably recent body horror style surrealistic paintings that came out. So it's like a big fat guy in his whole body like start leaking candy or something like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a bunch, and basically it's a bunch of critiques of modern culture and capitalism and that kind of stuff. And this movie kind of did that quite well, especially in the 80s.
Yeah,
80s
of course. Yeah,
the time of Donald Trump, where it was just all about coke and just being super wealthy
and then even with film as well too. Know, these over the top ideas. We look at them now, we perceive them as classics now, but at the time it was just like, how we could just go that extra mile, how we could just be more daring.
And it's just ridiculous and over the top. And this movie really, really does that well. It have a scene with this a head in a butt or face in a guy's butt.
I saw that picture. Yeah.
I was like, oh geez.
But I imagine, is this like a dark comedy or is it like a straight horror satire?
Borderline. It's a lot of it is not sure, but it's kind of played-ish for laughs. Halfway. Again, it's kind of like a RoboCop. RoboCop is clearly a humor, but you're not sure, and they do a good job.
Yeah, and it's just so over the top of the violence that they hard to really see it as a comedy.
Serious, right? Couldn't take it serious.
Is this serious, really?
Right. And so it does that quite well. So, but you have people who take it serious. Or you have people who take Star Trek Troopers seriously. take
Oh,
it
God.
as a legit,
Yeah.
right? But no, it's satire.
It's not about killing bugs, people.
Right.
No. Yeah.
Same thing. So they do this movie does that quite well. This is a damn classic in my opinion. This
Yeah.
movie is just so well done. Just well edited, well paced. Again, the makeup and special effects is top notch. It's amazing shit. And yeah, just really well done. Just damn creepy. So
Alright.
that's my number one.
Yeah. Well, my honorable mentions. Well, I would say Shining,
Yeah.
which still remains my all-time favorite horror movie ever.
Right.
Not just because it's from the greatest director that ever lived, Stanley Kubrick, but just also because of how it just touched on this kind of deep, really dark, point about, people that people that you love suddenly turning crazy, or just the fact that you yourself, through some sort of weird circumstance, against your better judgment or will, could go crazy and,
Right.
turn psychotic or violent. That still creeps me out to this day. Another one I was going to mention was The Thing,
Yeah.
but I just figured
Which one?
because it was just so popular.
1980s. remake.
The 1982, still classic, still one of my favorite John Carpenter
Yeah, no,
movies.
that part with the defibrillator.
Yes,
God
that moment.
damn, that is
too,
always
that
that
moment.
completely catch me off guard.
Yeah, the moment is the scene that always catches me is that dog transformation. There's
That
one
too, yeah,
point where
yeah.
his head splits.
Yeah.
Every time that happens, I jump.
Yeah.
But I was gonna put it on this list here because of how strange and out there it was. But it's a really popular movie, and for great reason too. So like I said, I just really wanted to tackle these shows that not that many people have heard of. So hence the reason why my top 5 is what it is, and Ricardo's is the same.
Yeah.
Right. So that's pretty much about it.
Yeah, we want to mention the show Preacher, the guy who's the artist of the Preacher died.
Oh yes, his Steve Dillon, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Dillon, yeah. So that's unfortunate.
Right,
Somebody
yeah.
else died. A comedian died. Meanie.
Yeah. I forgot what show he was.
No, he was
a comedian.
Most stand-up comedian.
Right.
Something Meanie, I forget his name. He's well, two things he was famous for. He's basically being a Catholic. He used to do a bunch of Catholic jokes, and he used to have a running bit called "That's Not Right." That's hilarious. I mean, just every time he do it, he used to just talk about all these things in society, and then yell, "That's not right." And he was doing this relatively recently. It's not like he's an old vaudeville style comedian.
Yeah.
But he did that. He had a vaudeville style comedy for modern age. So yeah, he'll be missed as well.
Right. Ricardo, where can we find you online, man?
You could find me Ampersat RMEDDY on Twitter. That is at RMEDDY, at RMEDDY on Twitter. And then type in me on Facebook. You could find me there.
All right. You can find me online on Twitter as well too. Look for Legally Black MJB, MJB and capital letters. Also Facebook. You can look for my name, Match Bailey, and also look for a Legally Black official fan base. So stuff to look forward to. Well, maybe not this weekend, because like I said, Diwali, Halloween weekend, so you're not gonna get an episode until next week. But next week, what we have to look forward to? Doctor Strange. You see, I had to answer you. I had to answer the question. Yeah, Doctor Strange definitely gonna check out in IMAX. Hope it's worth it.
Yeah, this was kind of waiting for a long damn time.
Yeah.
Christmas coming up, and then I'll be. What else you want to talk about?
Well, there's Atlanta season 1.
Right, we'll be talking about that as well.
I'll binge all 10 episodes so you could hear my perspective
I
on it.
haven't seen the end. Well, the finale hasn't come. I think it's 2 more episodes.
Yeah, 2 more episodes. Yeah.
Right, so cool. We'll talk about
And
it.
I will make the effort to watch Swiss Army Man so I could come in with my perspective on that movie.
And of course, I recommend Black Mirror, fantastic show.
Yeah, I'll check
and
that
I do
out.
recommend HyperNormalisation.
Yeah, and of course, all the horror flicks that we mentioned.
Yeah.
We strongly recommend that you check them out.
Yeah.
They're weird, they're different, they're unique, but trust me, if you're going with an open mind, I don't mean open as in taking poppers or whatnot, but just open.
Not too open for your brains to fall.
But you will get some enjoyment,
and of course,
fun out of it.
Of course, with respect to brains, Halt and Catch Fire.
Yes,
Recommend
definitely.
This was just a nice normal episode. Sadly, didn't have any good movies. I was planning to see Girl on a Train, but I was like, look like bullshit.
Yeah, I've been hearing talk about that Ouija sequel being good, but
right, maybe we can talk about that.
But I don't know. I really doubt I'm going and check out anything this weekend. So
I only care about Doctor Strange right now.
Yeah, right.
On the horizons, I give a shit about.
Right now it's just Walking Dead. I wanna run through.
Walking Dead premiere coming.
Yeah. What else? So this weekend coming up, like I said, Diwali is actually on the Saturday.
Right.
So
I may go watch there's the cricket movie.
That one. I think Movie Town is showing it.
Yeah, they're still showing it. They're still showing it down south. So I might make the effort to go see that. Maybe.
Right. Yeah. What about you? What's your plans for the weekend apart from that cricket show? Any Halloween flicks you're gonna check out? You're gonna check out the stuff that I recommend? Because I'm gonna watch Society. You know, one time I'm gonna watch Society.
Yeah, make the effort to go see that. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing for that weekend in terms of movies.
I'd recommend House. Watch House.
Right, I'll make the effort to go see House. Then I'll just probably go and write or something. I don't know.
All right, fine. What about Bollywood flicks? Any like Kuchi Kuchi Huta Hai, DDLG, something like that? Actually, take all this recap those movies.
Right, I'll probably go. What movie I really love? Probably Three Idiots.
Oh yes, 3 Idiots. That's one I haven't seen. I only saw that once though.
Oh, really?
And funny thing is, I never saw the last 10 minutes because the system that it was playing on just stopped working.
Oh, okay.
Long story.
Okay.
Yeah. I need to watch that over.
What else I saw? There's that classic though. I'll probably watch Over Sultan. God, do still recommend that for you.
Yeah, I need to just check
Sultan,
out.
as I say, if I were to fix it, it should have been 2 movies.
In one.
And split it. Yeah. It should have split it. It shouldn't be 1 movie. But whatever. That's
Alright, yeah. So guys, like I said, we wouldn't be having any episode this weekend here coming.
Yeah, but Doctor Strange.
Definitely with by the time Doctor Strange comes out, you can expect a full review of that and Atlanta season 1 and anything else that comes our way.
I'll try to point out as soon as we can because we can see it as soon as we can.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Alright, cool.
Alright, so that's pretty much about it. So once again, guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you listen to this. This was Matchy Bailey and
this is Ricardo Medina.
And we're signing off from another episode of Beers, Beats and Baileys. So guys, take care, enjoy your Halloween, enjoy your Diwali, stay safe, don't drink and drive. Don't get too freaked out, man. It's just a holiday, damn it. It's just a movie. Alright, so take care guys. Later. Peace.